Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games.
Bob, our new intro has ray tracing.
Ooh, cool. KZ Excellent.
I'm optimistic about things.
And Mr. Feel.
I enjoy popcorn chicken.
Here on GigaBoots.
Dear everyone, we're sorry we didn't eat pork roll.
Oh,
It was too advanced. We couldn't find it.
It was.
it's geographically limited.
Maybe
Our
someday.
limit is spam.
Someday we'll do that pork roll spoiler cast, but for now, you'll have to wait. I've been playing a shitload of Mister.
Cool.
For people who missed last week, Mister is the open source driven FPGA console of the people. It is parallel to the analog consoles, you know, the Super NES replacement and Genesis replacement consoles. But this one is community driven. So instead of being one console that you buy a piece of hardware for, it is open source hardware that you can find from a number of places, and it does something like 40 consoles. We've been testing the hell out of it over the last week and a half, and I'm really fucking impressed. For people who don't know why you would want to use this instead of an emulator, it uses FPGA tech to run the whole thing. So there's no lag. Like, there's no buffering. The audio is more accurate almost all the time. It's really fantastic. And this thing is the size of like a deck of cards. Super easily does this. I was a little floored by how, like, it has some fancy features it sticks into the Game Boy Advance core. Because, you know, a lot of Game Boy Advance games, like, think about Mario Kart and stuff like that. They have rotated sprites. And there is an ability on the Mister console to quadruple. They call it a 2x, but it's actually quadrupling it. Quadruple the resolution of the scaling so it looks a lot more accurate instead of giant pixel blocky terrible. So what I'm trying to say is, with this amazing feature, you can recognize what that thing at the beginning of Harmony Dissonance is even supposed to look like when you run past it. Like, oh.
What is it?
Oh, it's some sort of kneeling guardian. I thought it was a literal pile of trash.
Very likely.
You know, it's Harmony of Dissonance. You've seen the stairwell background. You know that a pile of trash could just be lying around in that game. Like, that game is very eclectic. I'm not sure that I've heard anyone who isn't a Castlevania hardcore fan defend it. But yeah, no, I've been having a good time with this, diving more into getting controllers set up for it. Got some insane technology on the way. I don't know when that's going to arrive, though. Some places are sold out, but we ordered some ultra low latency retro controller to USB adapters from a place called Damon Byte. DAE. So Demon Byte. Their stuff looks pretty good, but it's out of stock, so that's on back ordered and a couple other places. But yeah, so far this Mister console has been nuts. It has a VGA out so we can output it to the CRT, and an HDMI out so it upscales internally and outputs to the HDMI at the same time. It's good. If I were to start GigaBoots over, if I had to start from scratch, I would not have this giant collection of RGB SCART consoles. I would basically have the OSSC, a PS1, a Dreamcast with an HDMI mod, that HDMI thing for the GameCube, and then this. And then that would cover almost everything we have.
How long did you have that?
The Mister?
Yeah, just not hooked up or, you know, assembled.
I think 21 months, so almost 2 years. I mean, to be fair, a lot of people don't realize when I tell them this, the community endeavors have gotten so much better since then. Like,
Not tutorial videos, though.
nope.
No, not at all.
No, those will not get better, I guess, until the day I decide to fight Jiren, but I'm probably not going to do that, so maybe don't expect that from me. I am a huge fan of just order it pre-assembled if you can, or at very least order the bundle of parts together to assemble it rather easily. I saw the price, excluding a pre-configured SD card, which I consider one of the more important parts of this, because if you don't get a pre-configured SD card, you have to figure that shit out on yourself, and I can't help you there. I can't, and even if I could, I wouldn't, because it seems like a nightmare. You need custom software that will install an image onto your Mister. I guess it would be fine, but whatever. I would much prefer either buying the parts together or buy the core of it, the DE10 Nano FPGA system, because it's just think of it like a CPU, right? It's just a common publicly available CPU over on Amazon or any number of other shops. You can just buy there. The other parts of the Mister are add-on boards for that you can get from a number of places too. So the price on this is kept pretty low, but it's still hovering near $400 with pre-configured SD card and everything, except for a case because this community is allergic to cases.
Like, why would you want that?
They're like, what? It's a computer. I'm like, oh, well, here, how do I turn it off? And they're like, you yank out the power cable. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I start my car every morning by plugging in the car battery.
You know, I wouldn't be shocked if you had to do that.
Yeah, my car is pretty extra. Also, I should note this in this podcast, so I'll do it now before I forget. My tires literally were about to fall off my car while I was driving it the other day. It's repaired now. Thank you, Podlords.
Yeah, that was the worst. What was it? The last time we met was what, Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
And we record our content, which I think was like some cursed content thing. I'm like, I'm dead tired and I'm gonna go. And you're like, I'm gonna go to Taco Bell. I wake up. What do I see in this Discord? Dan's getting his car towed.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was not a good night.
And I'm like, oh no, not the bad end.
It was pretty bad. Like that thing went very quickly from making a weird sound to literally falling off as I'm driving, and I'm like, holy shit, this is bad. I'm not sure I'm gonna make it back to Bob's because I didn't make it to that Taco Bell, guys.
No,
you couldn't
have
even
a chance to be disappointed.
You couldn't even see the taco. Also, they got my order wrong when we finally did go there.
It was really bad.
It was a terrible night. It was a horrible, terrible night.
It's fucked up when even my audience is like, hey, I need you to like put a blessing on my Taco Bell. I'm like, don't worry. I'm the light to Dan's darkness. We'll see what we can do here. And they're like, it worked.
Hooray. I mean, the number one trick, don't order from anywhere in Niceville. That's the number one trick. If you're avoiding that, then you're pretty good. You're pretty good. But yeah, the Mr. thing's been really stupid levels of awesome. If I could do it again, yeah, I would save a shitload of money just by getting a Mr. instead of these retro consoles. Because the thing is so stupidly accurate. Let me put it in terms Mr. Feel specifically will understand. Okay, Mr. Feel.
No.
Yes.
What is this other Mr. Feel? He seems to be bird-like and scares me.
Oh.
I'm going to ignore him and just talk about this, and hopefully the bird gets bored and flies away. Mr. Feel, you were gonna get a Super NT if, in theory, that was available from Analog Shop.
Yes, if in theory they ever
Which
fucking
it won't.
restocked.
It's coming out the same way Ratchet's coming out in the launch window.
So in order to, play SNES games on that, because a lot of the SNES games use special mapper chips, if you wanted to play some ROMs or some harder to get, games, you need a flash cart. One of the fanciest flash carts out there is the SD2 SNES, which I believe now is called the Power FX Pack. Don't worry about it. Anyways, these flash carts have support for a lot of mappers, but not all of them. And one of them that mine did not, though it may have gotten an update that added it did not have support for, is Kirby's Dream Land 3, one of the games I had stolen from me as a kid, which isn't as astronomically expensive as Mega Man X2 and X3, which were also stolen, and Earthbound. But anyway, that was my brother's game, so that one's a little bit less personal. This Mr. plays that. Just the core, out of the box. No special hardware needed. The core supports that mapper. So you don't need a $200 and nearly $200 Super NT. You don't need another $200 flash cart. And then hopefully it supports it. It just works. And it looks 100% correct. Like
compatibility up.
It's
100% compatibility.
We don't want to say that.
We don't want to say that because people who say that are stupid assholes who have meltdowns on Twitter and then lock their forums for a couple days.
What? They said 100% compatibility. So what if it was 45?
Yeah, it was so close. It was basically the same.
Hey, if you get a PlayStation thing, you definitely don't want to play Tony Hawk or Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, who in their right mind would want to play either of those games. That's ridiculous.
Jesus.
Sorry, I wanted to go inside baseball a little bit.
Yeah, I want to bat. So yeah, it's like fantastic because you have to leap around all these things. You have to do special things like to get using real hardware to get a perfect Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color or Game Boy Image on my TV. I have to use homebrew software on my GameCube with a Game Boy player. So I have to have a way to boot homebrew on my GameCube. I have to have Game Boy player hardware, which isn't the cheapest. And then I need component cables for the GameCube, which are insane. So in theory, I could have an HDMI adapter and then have the analog out from that, go to a thing and use Wii component cables. But at the end of the day, I would need that. And an OSSE tuned for this mode to get the perfect upscale and then shoot that out to my TV. Or on the Mister, I could just boot it.
Yeah, that's ludicrous.
The chasm.
I'm gonna buy 2.
Casey links them up with a Game Boy Link cable. I'm trading Pokemon.
Oh shit! Don't give me a reason.
What are the but yeah, no, the insane level of convenience and the compatibility that I've seen from the Game Boy Advance cores and some of the other cores, it has floored me. Like, it's nuts. This thing plays 16 different Castlevania games. That's insane, value-wise.
Don't think about too much how many of those are ports of Castlevania 1.
I think it's only like 4 or 3. I think I only counted 3. Let's break it down. 3 Castlevanias.
When it was pointed out that it's like, oh, it perfectly runs Rondo of Blood. You know, the good one.
Yeah. Like, no one wants to get a PC. Let me be frank. No one wants to get a TurboGrafx in that Super SD System 3 on the back. And then Genesis SCART RGB cables and get the thing on the back modded as well as their TurboGrafx, all just to get a sharp image of Rondo of Blood. No one wants to do that. I regret doing that.
I guess I'll just emulate Dracula X on Z-SNES.
Yeah, that's the way to go, buddy. But yeah, no, this thing's working out spectacularly. I mentioned last week that I wasn't sure that I would recommend people getting it, and then people still ended up getting it. So I guess I have no control over you people. So I might as well just say, the guy I bought from my Mister from runs a website. It's called Mr. Add-ons. They do pre-configured builds where they just send it to you without the case, and you can get a pre-configured SD card. And basically, all you do at that point is plug it in and hit update, and then everything's good. And then, you know, whatever files you want to drop on it, you go, you find them. You take your legally backed up cartridge files, and then you just drop them onto your SD card, and then you can get it on there, and it's fantastic. We have a link in the description, like just pointing to the exact website I'm talking about. But like, yeah, this is aside from the assembling, which you can buy it pre-assembled, so that's not as much an issue. This thing is fantastic, and honestly, the assembly seemed all right, except for that incredibly awful USB hub bridge thing.
Yeah, which I don't think they even sell them like that anymore.
No,
So
they fixed that.
if you buy it, it'll be way easier.
Than what Bob went through.
Yeah.
They also do mouse support for light gun games on some of these systems. So that way you don't have to get a light gun, which would only work on a CRT. So that's really cool because not a lot of people have CRTs, but light gun games are really neat. What I'm trying to say is expect a light gun game month from us sometime.
Finally, Time Crisis.
Yeah, all of them. Because we own the gun.
Can this thing run Area 51?
No, I'm gonna guess it cannot.
Okay, that was the hardcore Kino light gun game that was at my laundromat.
That's true. I mean,
and the pinball machine that had Junkyard on it.
We're gonna end up with a way to play that. But yeah, for the cutoff, because a lot of people don't understand the power level we're talking about here. Assume the most powerful console this can play is a Super NES. And so, like, it can do Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Neo Geo. Like, I haven't gotten my Neo Geo working on that thing yet, but it has a Neo Geo core. And then it does Super NES, Sega CD, TurboGrafx, CD, Super Graphics, So it's a really, really great retro thing.
So it can't go up to 64-bit.
No.
All right.
Yeah, it's 16-bit, but it's really fantastic. And
Big CD though.
say,
Run sewer.
What are you waiting for Nintendo to make one?
what do you? No, they should be like, what are you waiting for? Analog to make anything?
Ever?
They're like, Nintendo, here's our N64 Mini. It has the best games of that platform. There are 15 games here.
That sure
Like, it seems about right. One of them's Jeopardy.
Phil, I keep telling this story and I'm not sure, so I just want to confirm it with you before I keep saying it this way. You tried to buy the Super NT for like a year and a half now, right? Like
Yeah,
how long?
It was somewhere around when we started these podcasts.
This is
Like a couple months in.
That's a
They have not
fucking
restocked
joke.
since then.
Oh, that was like 2 years then.
Yeah, what a fucking joke.
It wasn't right where we started. It was around the summer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So like a year and a half. Like that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the whole time
I don't just say you're not doing it because it seems like you're not, or say we plan to, but like our part suppliers have been disrupted by COVID or anything. Don't just post fucking gifs of a game.
Look at that game.
But that game's really cool. It's a good game, Sip.
Like, did have they even addressed the pocket, or is it still like coming the year we missed?
Yeah, last they talked about it is coming this year, and supposedly they're making a TurboGrafx thing. Once again, I stress the Mister can play TurboGrafx games, and you can get it easily right now from a number of different places.
But it's not going to look cool.
No, it's going to look badass, because it's going to be on the TV. Stop looking at the system.
Just stop saying badass. I'm sorry, it's been ruined by that man with his badass glasses.
But yeah, I've been enjoying that a lot. I'm not sure when the next time we're doing a live stream with it is, but we've got some more cool stuff coming in. Funniest comment I read last week under episode Big Think Dimension 104 was someone being like, well, Dan, you understand this. Why don't you make tutorials?
Why don't you do yet another fucking thing that eats up your inherently limited lifespan?
I'm like, well, I just set up Feels fucking mixed pre, and I'm getting that sent to him. I just dealt with all the Mr. shit, did a ton of input latency research, and no, I will not be doing how to build your Mr. tutorials. That is not going to happen. I've got...
That would involve you having to buy another.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, we could just take it apart, but yeah, no.
But then,
Yeah,
No, fuck that.
but then Bob,
Yeah,
our guide would be for an outdated version.
that's true.
Also, I know this is one of the first things people will get confused about. So the top board you add to the Mister is called the I/O board. And there are two options on the Mister add-ons website. One of them is digital and one of them is analog. And the question is, if I'm not going to use a CRT, what's the benefits of going digital? And there are very few benefits, but one of them is a power switch.
Yes. They also actually removed the pre-built with a case within the last 48 hours.
Yes, I know.
I don't know what's up with that.
I'm on the same Discord as the guy, so I talked to him about it. He took to Twitter earlier today to go, sorry, I sold out.
Oh, he said he sold out. The page is gone.
I think he may have delisted it because it was annoying him how many people were like, hey, I want this case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one of those things. But yeah.
See,
no.
I thought he looked at the numbers and like, I'm basically assembling these fucking things for free. I'm gonna relist this for more money.
He could be doing that. I honestly didn't. I figured the markup would have been more than it was, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does that at some point. You can actually get Mr. cases on Etsy, so and there are plenty. So I've been thinking about ordering one, but I don't know. Anyway,
Just buy a case, like encase it and then punch it down to make sure it's locked in place.
just get a shoebox.
Yeah.
Ooh. But yeah, it playing Kirby's Dream Land 3 on a CRT perfectly blew my ass out. Basically, that game's incredibly gorgeous for anyone who hasn't seen it, and it does have a few tricks that screw up emulators and FPGA consoles all the time. So yeah, that's cool, and I'm going to be fucking with that some more. And Bob insists we need to play China Warrior on a stream at some point.
Yes.
And he is correct, because your character is 2/3 the height of the screen.
They had to prove how cool it was.
See, the NES, it does baby sprites. However, the TurboGrafx has giant man sprites.
It's very big.
I'm gonna show you something, KZ. This is almost... This next image is basically the entire screen. It's only cropping a little bit out. This is how huge this man is.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's the funniest shit. And Bob's like, this game's great. Why do people crap on it? I'm like, geez, Bob could have been my friend who owns a TurboGrafx.
I wish.
Look at him. He's really big. Much fun for Bob.
Okay. I'm not going to linger on this topic, but David Jaffe, please stop tweeting about giant people in media. Thank you.
Never.
Friend of the show.
The meme got too real when he's like, I'm seeing huge people everywhere I go, and the Bolan Wonderworld game demo is what he posted the image of. I'm like, no. But yeah, anyway.
Shrivel up into a fucking raisin.
Bob, is there anything about the Mister I should have brought up?
I don't think so. You covered a lot.
I think the thing's fantastic. I can't recommend it enough. Just, it's not a plug and play solution. You have to put a little bit of work into setting it up. That's it. That's the main problem.
Remember, even if you don't get an I/O board, which you should get an I/O board, you put the heatsink on the processor.
I mean, wait, what?
Yeah, it doesn't come as a heatsink at all. Luckily, they send you a heatsink with the I/O board.
Yeah.
But if you don't order that part, make sure you get the heatsink. They say that even in normal use of this FPGA, if you're not doing all this console stuff, you want that.
I mean, to be fair, you would have to be a maniac to not get the I/O board.
Yes.
You don't. Audience, I swear to God, I'll ban you from the comment section if you buy 2/3 of a Mister and come back here and go, Dan, it broke. I swear to God.
I spent my entire stimulus check on a Mister.
How?
They bought they bought some of the parts twice.
Oh, okay.
It'd be because they're just going to negotiate the check down to $400.
Gotta go.
Last thing before we move
July.
on. God damn it. Okay. Last thing before we move on. There's an insane level of tech with this that I did not know existed, where they have a specific adapter called a snack adapter. The SNAC. This thing can hook retro controllers directly into the FPGA core at a voltage level. So there is no latency. It is a perfect readout of the controller. If you've got the SNES core booted, you plug in your SNES controller if you get the adapter, and it reads perfectly. So one of the tricks this can do is work with light guns. So we can do NES, Sega Master System, etc. light gun games through this. And that's cool as hell. And the thing has perfect latency, so it should feel exactly like those consoles at that point. And that's
You're
pretty
always
cool.
winning.
Here's the one problem. It only supports one controller.
Oh.
So someone's riding bitch on this ride.
Don't those controllers also not work for the menus?
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna mention the controller doesn't operate the menus, because once again, it's not doing a controller readout, audience. It's literally manipulating voltage levels connected to the core. So you can't bring up the menu. You can't navigate the menu with this SNES controller. This SNES is there for playing SNES and nothing else. And that's insane. But it's pretty neat. And we ordered that to check some of that out. Maybe I'll do a video on it at some point. Maybe I won't because I don't have time. Who knows? Either way, learning about it so that way I can share my knowledge with people who ask over on the GigaBoots Discord or talk to me on Twitter or whatever will be insightful. I ordered a controller on Amazon that looks like a SNES controller that apparently has the best latency in the world on this thing, but I'm convinced that thing's going to feel like dog shit when it gets here. So we'll find out. KZ says it probably feels all right because he had one years ago.
If it just feels like a SNES controller.
What if I told you the SNES controller feels like shit?
Yeah, well, I don't know why you bought it expecting better.
Hey, man. There are pretty good Hyperkin things for old consoles where the control, like, check this out. I have a Genesis controller made by Hyperkin. You're gonna want to sit down for this.
Okay, hold on. Oh, I was sitting down. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, I'll just say it again. The D-pad doesn't cut me. It's a pretty amazing trick. Honestly, Hyperkin's Genesis controller is pretty good. Anyway, that's enough talking about Mister. Hey, Bob.
Hey.
What have you been playing?
I played some things that the other two have played, but I also played Ender Lilies, Quietest of the Nights.
What?
This hit Steam Early Access the day we recorded the last podcast. It's like a Metroidvania with some Dark Souls inspiration, but more for the world setting, honestly. It's like you play as this little girl who's like completely white. They call her the White Priestess. She has like a white dress, white skin, and white hair. And she collects dead souls from this society that's been killed by like this plague, and uses them to fight monsters. So it kind of feels like the story has a tone kind of like Valkyrie Profile, where you're collecting these souls. So like the first boss you fight, this nun, and she's like, oh, it's my duty to protect you, but she's got a corrupted mind, so she's trying to kill you. And then you like kill her and free her soul and absorb it into yourself, and then she's an attack. So like the three face buttons, like square, triangle, and circle, are all settable to different attacks like that, different souls you find. It's pretty neat. It also you get like the Estus Flask sword mechanic, like Dark Souls, where it's a recharging health restore you can use whenever. And the save points are like the bonfires, but it really isn't trying to be Dark Souls like, because it won't just own you for the sake of owning you. It feels much more balanced, like a Metroid a Castlevania, where you're leveling up just by fighting enemies. You don't seem to have any like corpse fetch quest things. You're not being randomly assaulted in unfair ways like Dark Souls is kind of known for. It's like, oh, you need to learn that. It's like, no, you can kind of just see it as you're going through the level and adapt to that. So I'm enjoying it. It seems really neat. It's only the first 3 chapters for the early access, so I might just stop playing and wait for the full one to come out, because it's honestly been a lot of fun. It's got like a dodge mechanic where you can dodge behind enemies. You get a soul that's parries enemies, does like a good counterattack.
Bob, you should post a trailer real quick of this game just so they can visually see it, because I think that is something that you would struggle to express with words.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just so our co-hosts can see the level of rent we're talking about.
Yeah. Okay, I do like level of rent.
You said you had this thing installed as a demo since November, right?
No, that was something else.
Oh, okay, that was something else.
There we go. I put it in general for you guys.
Okay. Anyway.
But yeah, it's all got like a sort of hand-drawn look to it.
Oh yeah, that looks nice.
Yeah, and then and how in like what's up?
She has the she has the Maria hand dive.
A little bit. That's your main dodge. It's really good.
Where she's just sliding on her stomach almost.
And she can do that like Shrew Hit. She has iframes and stuff. So you like
that's some shit.
You land on your face.
This is basically the future.
But yeah, you don't collect souls from every single enemy like you do in Castlevania. You get there, like you'll find a mini boss version of each enemy just randomly in areas. And they have like a little bit of backstory. Like there's ravens in one area, and you find a mini boss raven, and it's like, oh yeah, he's a merchant. So you get a tiny bit of backstory about how he came from the east to sell goods here and died. And then you get after you beat him, he's like this little crow with human hair, and he just floats around shooting things. But each one seems really neat and different. You can also level up your souls by there's a currency you find in the world which is used for that. So you get this corruption currency to basically upgrade the souls, and it seems like there's another currency for your main soul, which is the night guy you can see in the trailers. And he's the one you start with. He's the only one who seems to like continue to talk to you throughout the story. And there seems to be some other upgrade ability for him because he's like your main attack, like a good 3-hit combo. I assume that's going to become more. but we'll see. Like I leveled up the nun lady, and she's a sub skill as they call it, where it's like she just pops up and spins her mace. And one of the leveled up before got her she spins the mace for longer, and she actually does a different move if you use her while in air. She'll do like an uppercut with the mace. It's lots of neat little things. I'm like, oh man, this is actually a really solidly put together game. It's also already given me at save points I can teleport between them. The task is split completely. I've gone in two completely different directions. I need to go back and search another area because of that. So it seems like it's going to be a pretty solid Metroidvania style game. The only thing that I really I don't think will be fixed and can't be fixed at this point is the map system is more like a Muramasa, if anyone's played that, where you don't get to see the exact shape of each room you're in. It's just sort of like this is a long room. There's an exit somewhere on the top side of it, which could mean an exit that's actually the top of the screen, or it could mean a walk into the background sort of situation.
That was just reminding me of fucking Odin Sphere's ring rooms.
Yeah, it is a lot like that, but not with the full ring setup like the original Odin Sphere every stage was.
Oh yeah, I did forget that they added more levels.
Yeah, that original Odin Sphere is rough. They had like real levels in the new version. But I really like it. I definitely suggest people check it out. Really cool art. Story exists. Unlike Dark Souls games usually. Music's pretty good too.
A story.
It's like most of it is like moody stuff, but sometimes it'll get into like singing that kind of reminds me of Nier. So that was cool. The other things I played the Bland Wonderworld demo.
So did I.
Dude. Monday, I received an email being like, hey, would you like early access to this Bland Wonderworld demo so you could maybe make some like preview coverage, because then, a day ahead previews come out for it. And I'm like, maybe I will. And then I played the demo and said, maybe I won't.
Yeah, that's probably the worst 3D platformer I've played in a very long time.
Okay, I was going to say, if someone takes that demo and goes, I just finished playing Astro's Playroom, I'm going to check out this Bland Wonderworld demo, and then they go to the hospital, because the sheer shock, I saw people say, man, the footage on this makes it look like your character in Bland Wonderworld may have the worst run cycle ever. And you can feel it.
It's so fucking strange. It's like the animation you're doing is disconnected from your movement.
Also, there's only one action button in this game. All buttons on the controller do the same thing.
I was losing it when they're like, fucking, what's your jump? All four main buttons and the triggers.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely thinking right now, like, have I ever played a 3D platformer that felt worse than this? I don't think Gex feels worse than this.
No, it doesn't. I've played Gex.
I have to go all the way to like Bubsy 3D.
I know. That's where I looked at footage of the Wii U version of Rodea the Sky Soldier, and that looks worse, but it's made by the same person.
I honestly wonder if this weird obsession with only one button is like him condescending to people, or if he thinks this is legitimately good.
I don't know how, I don't understand how this happens. You touch this game for 5 seconds and you know it's wrong.
Yeah, I immediately, I started the demo up and they give you access to a few levels. They give you all of the first level, which is 2 acts and a boss. Then you give something from World 4 and then World 6. And you get into it. I like the music, some of the presentation stuff, some of the designs. But then I have to engage with the game, and it not only is just the one action stuff not great, where I'm like, why is it just jump is your only thing in this game, and you run around and you get different costumes that make your jump something different.
You can get costumes that don't let you jump.
Yeah, I know.
And then get stuck in a situation where you can't progress because you can't turn the costume off. So you just have to kill yourself, which happened to me, and that's when I quit playing. That's when I quit playing the demo.
Yeah, when you get hit, you lose the costume that you had, and you hot swap them through your shoulder buttons. But you got to get a key to unlock them. But it also just feels kind of insulting in a way of the key is always 2 feet away from the thing anyway, so it feels like an extra step that isn't really necessary.
It does just feel completely random, like you wanted to do something. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I didn't understand it feels like it's targeting like children, but really, really small children. The way it's like it's one button, everything is so simplistic with it.
I think it would just frustrate small children because it controls so badly.
Yeah, it just feels so
like
infantile in what it expects you to do.
Even discounting like okay, let's make up a theoretical dumb small child that doesn't care the game feels like shit and you run like molasses and jump 2 feet in the air. Like the Jackrabbit costume that gives you like the Yoshi-esque hover.
Yeah.
That doesn't control in any way I would expect it to control.
Did you get the homing attack one?
No, I did not. I quit before then.
Okay, well, imagine the Sonic Adventure homing attack, but it goes 5 times slower.
Well, the Jackrabbit thing is like, you would expect to hit jump and then jump again in the air to get your waggle, so there might be some form of nuance. But no, you just have to press to jump and hold it to get the waggle. So
it's not even a good waggle.
It's not. It's like I said,
everything in this game feels bad. Yeah.
I looked at footage because Bob brought it up before we started recording. This seems like they made another Billy Hatcher. Just from footage, I can tell Billy Hatcher is better. He has a jump and he moves faster than molasses.
There was also
to be fair, that was Dan who was saying it was like Billy Hatcher.
Oh, was it Dan? Okay.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, in the first level, there's some weird stuff too visually with it, at least on my side.
Oh yeah, that level just looks like that.
Yeah. The first level is like curving in and out, like the level's like warping around. So when you see things in the distance, they just jitter, and it just looks so wrong.
Yeah, somehow they made it look like the entire thing you're walking on, the background, all of it is a lower res than the rest of the game. It's kind of impressive.
Yeah, that was really, really weird. I feel bad about it because I'm like, clearly there's some people that can make some cool music here, and I kind of like the visual design they're going for.
Yeah,
but they've grafted it onto like game feel that feels so abysmal.
Now people listening, I don't know about Bob and KZ. I wouldn't buy this for any amount of money. That's how bad it feels.
Yeah, no. This absolutely killed my interest in like myself engaging and buying it.
Yeah, I would never put money towards this. This is insanely bad.
I finished and went, I sure hope none of them played this. I hope none of them, because I played it days before, and I'm like, oh no, I have to live with what this game is.
Did you guys go to the Balan dimension?
Oh, yeah, that's the best part of the whole demo. If you're talking about when you talk to him and you play as the Balan guy.
Yeah, when you play as in do like an unbelievably pathetic QTE.
Oh, you mean that? Yeah, that.
Yeah, he's like, "Yo, you found me," and then they play the cool like big band music, and
of
then they're
him
like
kicking rocks.
Yeah, of him kicking rocks, and it's like line up the thing, and I was like, I like the music happening here, and I like this character design, but this is also making me feel like this was designed for 2-year-olds.
The second one of those was baffling because they don't give you any prompts. So I was
they
gave you the tutorial the first time. You have to remember them.
No, I got it eventually, but I was like, I gotta be on the one where you have to hit rapidly because I was waiting for them to line up and it's like, oh, it's not that one. It's this other one where they just put images in front of him. And that whole thing is like one of the worst QTEs ever made. Like not from the perspective of like a bad QTE where you fail it and you're ruined, but just it's so incomprehensible. It's just like line up his photos.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to read it. I was like, is this right? And then they're like, you did it right. I'm like, okay, but I didn't feel super confident in it when I did it.
Yeah, they always end it with one where they're spinning him and the silhouette doesn't ever actually match up. And they're just like, you did great.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. Now, this is an unbelievably fucking obscure thing, a reference, but it reminded me, that QTE, of the heat attacks in the PS2 Phantom Blood game. Because they're very similar, because they're just the characters posing really slowly on a solid color background, and you have to mash something.
Huh.
And it's like that's really the same thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, I like, even like if you can get into the style, I don't think it's executed well either. It just everything kind of looks cursed. Like they're all doing the same default dance in the background. If you get near any other character, they disappear, they vanish.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Yeah,
that.
I don't fucking get it.
I think it's supposed to be a fever dream. I don't know.
Yeah, it's supposed to be dreamlike, but like I really expected something a lot more stylish. So like the fact that the first level's farm world, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that seemed like a weird choice. I started cackling when I finished World 1 because they let you do the first 2 acts, then a cutscene plays that's like a bit higher rent than I expected for just this isn't the intro anymore. Where they're like, oh no, the bad tentacle thing touched a farmer, and now the farmer's a boss, and then you do a boss fight that is
The most pathetic ever.
Yeah, I know, because it's 3 hits, and somehow it feels easier than any boss I played as a kid, where you just jump at a tornado and it bounces it back, or you just run at him and jump at him. You finish it, and the boss took me 40 seconds, and then they give you a minute-long sequence where you dance with the farmer, which feels like the highest budget thing in the game using game models. And I'm like, this is longer than the fight I just did. I am cackling. What is happening right now?
I too could not stop laughing at that. I was like, this seems insane.
and that killed me because I'm like, oh my god, everyone's gonna have this. Every single one of these fucking really easy bosses with the most crack-headed dance sequence. Because then I look back at the trailer and I see one of the dance sequences.
I'm looking this up, and it really does feel like this was targeted at like 4-year-olds, but I feel like even they would not like this.
Right, that's what I was saying with the whole condescending thing. Like, he's making it for his idea of what a child is, which is just false.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not trying. Yeah, and I'm not in any way trying to say that it's fine because it's doing that. I was just kind of like dumbfounded of, is that what your approach here is? Because the World 1, I can understand being brain dead. There's plenty of games where at the start it's a bit on the brain dead side. That 4 was the same thing, in my opinion. And then I started seeing a little bit of something in the 6th one, the last one they give you in the demo, where there's like
that's the clock,
some interiors. Right? Yeah. There's like interiors and like more platforming here. I'm like, any neurons are firing now, but still, I did not enjoy that because I think
it never becomes not frustrating when you get a costume. You have to change to a different costume to attack the enemy, and then change to another one to jump. That's insane.
And changing, by the way, takes way fucking longer than it should.
Yeah, it's like over a second.
The fact that it should be you jump, and then your second button is your unique action. I feel like that's a slam dunk type of thing of just, why aren't you doing it like that? You pick up these costumes across the world, but you can pick up 2 of the same one.
Yeah, because
you get hit.
Yeah, so but they also don't be like, you have a limit of 3. They don't tell you, oh man, you've hit your limit. Which one would you like to get rid of? It's like whatever was in the back. So it's like, oh man, I lost my body horror vertical like stretchy one, and now I have 2 wolves.
Yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you just have it replace the one you're wearing? That would make sense to anyone. Instead, it's replace the one that's in the third slot. It's like, what?
Like, what do you mean? What do you do? And yeah, the animation for switching with L1 and R1 is way too long for what they expect you to do, especially with something that's just this limited of just, yeah, you change into a costume. Now 6 of the buttons on the controller do the exact same thing.
You also cannot switch costumes in midair, so you can't jump and then shoot. It's impossible.
Yeah, I died doing that.
Yeah, I think I did too.
I was like... I was just mostly floored at the robot bat or whatever it was that the sky soldier looking one that's like, okay, you can do a homing attack, and I'm like, oh my god, this
what blew my mind,
so crazy.
Did anyone else open the menu?
Yes, I did, and I know exactly.
I did, and that was one of the moments I'm like, I sure hope they don't play this.
The menu has no cancel button. You have to confirm, and then you have to just go down and select back on the menu.
Oh, so that's not technically true, Bob. You have 4 confirmed.
You're right.
Yeah, I was about to say, not to worry. There's 4 confirmed buttons.
I was going insane, so I like, okay, hit circle, go back. Why'd you go forward? Oh, it must be Japanese setup. Hit X, go back. Oh no, they're all confirmed.
The only way out is through.
This is, I feel so bad. Because I looked at the reveal of that and I'm like, that looks cool. It's good, nice to see Square's trying to fund a 3D platformer. I like the style of this. I would like this to be good. See if they could, and maybe put out an okay one and then make something better. This is unsalvageable. I don't see how you patch this at all.
You can't. Everything is designed around your you'd have to make the bare minimum to make this game acceptable would be you move twice as fast, switching costumes is instant, and your jump is 150% higher. And everything is designed for your worst jump in video game history.
Yeah, it's that, and the amount of people that I've seen freak out when people go, "Oh no, this is out in 2 months."
Yeah. This is clearly just
maybe
done.
Maybe Square Enix will see the response to this demo and be like, maybe we should redo the entire game.
Genuinely, if they did something like a news thing comes out 2 weeks from now that goes delayed to an unknown time and we never see this game for like 6 to 8 months, I'd be like, good.
Yeah,
please.
no, this thing needs to just stop. I don't
understand how you can.
I don't want this to come out and just die. Come on, man.
Yeah, neither do I. I would like devs to make games that look sort of like this again, but this is the worst 3D platformer I've ever played.
Yeah, the worst. I'm like, oh, I want something that looks like this, but oh my god.
Maybe it should be canceled, honestly. There's no salvaging it.
No, but some of the designs are good. Just start over.
Yeah, Fire, you're not going to start over?
This feels worse than Donkey Kong 64.
Yes.
Honestly,
it's worse than any rare platformer.
Of course it does.
Even the fucked up wrong version of Donkey Kong 64 that's underwater still feels better than this.
Did anyone else mess with the chiclet counting machine?
No, I threw things out onto the grass.
Yeah, then the chiclets eat them.
Yeah,
and then they get bigger, and then you herd them over to the rotary dial, and it counts them, and the meter goes up, like there's a little ticker next to it, and they just keep jumping in. And eventually it goes up high enough for it to build like this giant counting machine. Dan, what are those machines called?
Rube Goldberg?
Yeah, Rube Goldberg machine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you then the chiclets start just showing themselves into that, and that gets you even more counting up. I think this might be the best part of the game. Because you just see numbers go up, and you might feel good about that.
I'm going to be honest. Looking at it, I felt that way.
Yeah. Because they like roll around this, like you know the things at malls and stuff where you throw a coin in and it goes around it goes around the big circular thing. And they started that.
I love those. There was one at the Blockbuster I used to frequent.
It goes through that. It goes into a hole and it comes out on top and starts going through like elevators and little ramps and stuff. And it's like, I can just watch this. This is better than playing the game.
God, dude, it's not often that you see or play a game that hasn't come out yet and you go, maybe this will get high 50s on Metacritic. Maybe.
I can't respect anyone who'd give this a 5. Like, this is not even that.
I feel like it'll get bolstered by like random nobody like Nintendo review websites.
Yeah, there's like, always those.
Another great platformer for the Switch. I'm gonna give this a 9. Flawed but enjoyable. And I turned to fucking dust. I'm like, please delay it. I'm begging you. Please Halo Infinite this. I'm begging you.
Yeah, it just depends on if Square is in that position of they want to make a good game or they just want to get it out because they know it's unsalvageable.
Yeah. My assumption is just that it'll do really bad. It won't sell well, and then Yuji Naka will disappear from the world.
Anyone else have anything else to say about Balan Wonderworld?
I'm sad.
I've been bummed all week.
Okay.
No.
Also, his fingers are terrible. Like, I don't know if you guys looked at the fingers on the character.
Yeah, the kids don't have good designs at all.
Yeah, they're really rough.
But I could tolerate them if they weren't the worst feeling video game protagonists ever.
Yeah. I also played something else everyone else played.
Oh, okay, cool. It's funny how that happens.
Yes, Cyber Shadow.
Yeah, it's I think it's Machine Head Games.
I think that's right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, published by Yacht Club.
Yeah, I was not a big fan. It's like a retro remake Ninja Gaiden NES style game
Yeah.
where you fight robots.
Mm-hmm. You and me finished it, right?
Yes, I also finished
Okay. Okay.
it. It's basically, it feels like it has a ton of mechanics wrapped into it. It's another game obsessed with you shouldn't use many buttons. Only use 2 buttons. Even at how many moves we've put in here, 2 buttons is enough.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of them are like, no, you have a whole controller. You could probably utilize.
It's a cool
this
NES
system.
thing, so we're gonna do it even if it makes our game bad.
Right. Like the
Never mind the fact that fucking even when Castlevania went to fucking the Super Nintendo, they put that shit on R.
right?
There is definitely a thing I wish was on R, and that's when you get that dash.
You can put the dash on R. It's the only thing you can.
My
Oh no,
God.
you can put the run on R. You can't do the dash on R because the dash is when you run and then jump and hit the attack button, which is
Okay. I'm specifically thinking having to double tap the direction left and right,
yeah.
and then hitting. Yeah, I would have.
Yeah, no, they hide that in the menus. I only found out when I was looking at controls. Like, what do you mean I can turn off double tap to dash? And so I did.
I'm so upset because there are a lot of times that I just early on utterly failing to execute that move.
Yeah, the double tap
in
to
the
dash
cool
is
way.
terrible. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot
God
of,
help me if you try to use the stick.
Oh, a lot of things in the game are just like, this doesn't execute well enough for what you want to do here. Like, I felt like a lot of times the tip of my sword would go to an enemy and not hurt them at all. Like, the hitboxes are totally messed up on certain enemies or something.
Yeah, I think some hitboxes that I got hit by, I'm like, you guys are going a little hard here. Like, there's an early boss that, like, the first boss in the game is your cool rival character, who has a move where he jumps off the screen and then targets appear and he shoots down beam pillars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I just need to stay on the other side of this thing. But it also has like a dome that goes down on top of the beam pillar. And I'm like, you're expecting me to be a little too far. That just kind of just doesn't feel right to me.
At least there's a proper visual for the dome.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't match up with the warning for it at all.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those things where I'm like, okay, let me look at the background element. Okay, now I can gauge it forever. It will never pass this part of the screen.
But I'm talking about, like, there are certain enemies who want to run from you, which a lot of enemies take more than one hit to kill. So it's really upsetting when it's like, you slash it and you're like, this is going to do it. Oh, it didn't even hit him, and I need to hit him twice.
Even after you get the charge move, that you get a charge on literally every one of your main abilities eventually.
Yeah, it's bad. It's like, why did you do this to me?
I love these games that so desperately want to be Ninja Gaiden. And it's like, guys, like, a big part of why Ninja Gaiden was satisfying is that everything died in one hit, and it was about, like, perfectly timing your swing as you jump onto a tiny platform that has an asshole on it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to stand there slashing a normal fucking enemy.
The SP system in this really upsets me. It's basically your heart system.
Yeah.
It's fine for stuff like the dagger, which, just hit up in the attack. You throw the dagger, you use an SP. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
There are other moves associated with movement, like your down stab, which you can do without SP. But if you have SP, you'll burn
pogo.
it.
Yeah, it makes like an explosion if you have SP, which is fucking stupid. Just give me it.
Which that down stab is already one of the worst feeling ones I've played with in one of these. Like, the pogo stick in most games feels better. This one, you do like a weird jump up when you do it in midair, and then you have to slowly fall back down until you get near the end of the game when you get the super fast version, which takes SP.
This one expects you to do it multiple times, is the thing. Where it's like, normally it's like you're holding down and then you're just bouncing. Here they want you to hit it and then immediately press it again if you want to continue like your momentum and continue like doing it. which means like when you unlock it, they expect you to jump into a pit where enemies are coming up, like fish or like some substitute of it. And I just like died 3 times because I didn't get it.
I was
and
really
I'm like, oh.
I was really frustrated by those fish enemies because I was taken back to Mega Man Maker. It burnt an SP every time I hit this fish enemy, which I just have to hit to get through a hallway. It's below me. This is literally the only way to hit it. So it's just like, it's going to burn 5. It's going to burn 5 SP I did nothing with. So I just guaranteed we'll lose that. It's like the beginning of a Mega Maker level where like you have to shoot through 10 gates to make sure you have this much of this weapon left. But at least in those games, they think about that, and like that's part of the challenge. This game, it just seems like I did a thing. I don't know why. I guess you suffer because we don't have any. We can't possibly use another button to dictate if you're going to use SP or not.
I want to talk about how I really fucking hate the gun power up.
Oh god, the gun power up.
Okay,
is so bad.
so to differentiate things for the audience, there are 2 different types of things. You have abilities that you unlock. There are cool little spheres that change your buttons, but there are power-ups that you pick up in checkpoints that you can also opt in to have a checkpoint always spit out if you use the currency that drops off enemies. And that's what Feel's talking about.
You know what? I want to shit on this too. By the way, before we get to that, I'm fucking sick of these half Metroidvania games.
Yes, I was gonna bring this up. You go ahead.
Where it's like, we made a linear game like old NES games, but we also included Metroidvania shit. So you have to come back to these levels that are designed to play for you to go through straight and be like, well, now you can hop on walls. So do this shit to find a power up and get to a new area. Like, just either make a Metroidvania or make a linear game.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, the only upgrades are health and SP. It's not worth going back to play a whole level for one upgrade. That doesn't make any sense.
Some of them lead to new levels, don't they?
I don't think so. Maybe.
It looked like there were points where you could go 2 different ways if you had things.
Oh, no. You see, as you go through the game, there's a part where you just got wrap around backward. But it's a visual thing. Like, there's a part where you actually return to Mecha City is the name of one of the chapters, but it's a different level. Like, it's using the similar tile sets, but like...
Also, before we get off levels, every level in this that I got to, because I didn't beat it like Bob didn't, I assume KZ did.
Yeah.
Every level just seems like a sewer level.
I didn't get that vibe at all, but...
I really got that vibe, but like thinking back on it, I was
feels like
oh,
they
man,
all have the same aesthetic.
It's all like underground computers, some stuff rotting. Yeah, like there's 2 levels or so that I don't really think like that. Didn't get that feel.
You can swim for some reason, which really fucking shocked me the first time I fell in the water and didn't instantly die.
Yeah, like I think of the levels that had the swimming in it, but I think of some of the more mechanical focus, some of the outside city stuff, the overgrowth.
The overgrowth feels like
shit.
a sewer. Like that.
Oh, okay.
That stuff is.
Okay.
It feels like what's that level in Metroid that feels like a sewer and you're like everything's overgrowing with plants?
We call that Metroid.
I know.
Yeah.
The abandoned ship. Is that what specifically you're talking about?
I don't know what he's going for.
Metroid?
I'm thinking of Super Metroid early on. It's where you fight the big plant boss that opens up. Like he's made of balls of plant matter.
Brinstar? I think it's Brinstar.
Yeah, it's like a more sewer-like version of Brinstar.
Yeah, I just didn't get the vibe of the entire game's like a sewer level. Like I felt it for the part where it's a water thing and then you fight the fucking water boss that I just hit under it and then just mashed the fire up.
That has to be what they intend you to do.
Health in 1 second.
Now we were talking about the gun. That boss is what?
Yes.
That was the first time I got the gun and instantly made me hate it more than anything I did ever.
That gun's so bad. It's a floating gun that doesn't do anything.
It's an option, and it shoots when you hit fire. Sometimes it has a shitty rate of fire, and if you don't attack and shoot, it charges. When you shoot it at max charge, it shoots off like a big ball of energy with 2 smaller ones spiraling around it, and it pierces through enemies, but it disappears the second it hits the edge of the screen. And they give it to you right before this boss where you would want to shoot it through a big span of area to hit all these fucking things that become platforms in the water. And that it feels like it's intended to do that. But then they were like, oh, we can't, that's hard, so we just won't have it do that.
It's like they did that, and then they introduced you the boss room that is probably one of the longest boss rooms in the entire game. Just a long horizontal stretch.
The part that kills me about the gun is that it floats behind you, but not perfectly aligned with you. So if you jump, you need to wait till you're falling to shoot it if you want to hit something right where your character is. Like, if you just want to line up a shot, you got to jump and then fire it late, or else it just will totally miss because it's floating behind you. It doesn't keep up right because it looks cooler that way, I guess. It's always floating up and down but behind you. It's really annoying.
Yeah, like I used it for like one level and kind of went, I don't think I'm getting any kills at all with this thing, and just never used it again because you'll go to like a checkpoint, and each checkpoint you can just pour in currency to give yourself SP restore, so you start each life if you die at max, or you start each life with a power up. And I'm like, well, if that's the power up, I don't need it, and I can save this for something that's valuable.
Is the tether blade seriously just in one level?
Yeah, that's the only time you get it.
I'm pretty. Yeah, I feel like it might be in the next chapter, but it's only in that little chunk where the swag blade.
And that's like the most interesting power up in the game.
Yeah, in terms of like a mechanical like difference, it is the most unique thing it has, where it's a spinning blade on a tether that you can hit to shoot it forward, and then you of course, the way you move, you can manipulate which direction it's going to go, because it'll even like go through barriers and stuff. Yeah, I liked that one a lot, and then it never shows up again.
Yeah, it's really neat. I have no idea why nothing else is even approaching that level of changing the game.
It's in chapter 3, and the game has like 12 chapters.
I should mention the part about the swag blade that got me killed. It got me really upset.
You absolutely should.
So this is a blade that always floats around you, like spins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The very next thing after you get it, like after you beat the chapter with it, so I went back and got it again because it's like, okay, I will go back one screen, get my health back, get the swag blade, and continue. The next thing it's like it wants you to do is this training trial against the monkey where you're learning how to use the down stab and bounce off lanterns.
Yeah.
The blade broke the lantern, so it was impossible. I had to go find some way to kill myself.
That's wonderful.
Because there's no way to turn it off.
I mean, terrible. Yeah. There's no way to. You can't shut that thing off. You're born with it. That's your umbilical cord now. It's over. I'm so upset that you told me about that fucking. You could just bind the dash to R.
Yeah, it doesn't help as much as it should. Because if they wanted to make this feel good, you just hold the R button. You're running, right? That would make sense. Like then you jump and then you land and then you're running automatically. No.
Yeah, I was just thinking about whenever I wanted to execute a really quick, like, slash and then immediately change direction and do it again. Because I started getting into a rhythm with it, because there's a section later where there's a boat. You have to do a boat sequence. And it's got, like, a little, like, plant orb on it where you got to take it out. And it's at the very start, and I got into this flow, because I died a bunch in the second part, of running up to it and doing the quick slash through it and then back and do back forth 4 times just to immediately just erase it. But sometimes I didn't execute it right, and then I dashed into the back into spikes and just immediately died.
Yeah, sometimes after your dash, you maintain the dash status, and it feels like you don't always, though. So it's hard, like even if you turn around, you'll still be dashing.
It felt like they expected me to change direction faster than I was doing it. Because I was getting it pretty consistently. There were only a couple times where I just Looney Tunes into a wall like an idiot. But that the only like negative thing that I feel particularly strongly about is that there are some sections that I feel are just they're one step too long for me. And every single time they were one step too long for me, it's like, oh yeah, you died in the last part. And every time that happened, I'm like, damn you. Like, that boat section has you, like, fight a bunch of enemies that are, like, on jetpacks as you're driving the boat.
You have to slash them, like, 3 times because, this game.
Oh, no, I do the charge hit and then a second slash. So it's just 2 on these big purple guys. But I feel like it was, like, 3 too many enemies. Like, if you cut it by 3, I would have felt a lot better with it. But then, toward the end, so many sections in this, I ended up getting proficient to a degree with some of their patterns where I'm like, okay, I'm figuring it out. Like I hit that final boss sequence, and I was like eating shit to the first fight, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be rough. And then at the end, I'm like, okay, I've no hit the first fight so easily. This is made for babies.
Yeah, it is. Once you figure it out, it's really simple.
One of the funniest things, without spoiling too much about it, the first fight you do, since it's 3 phases, will drop health for you, but only if you play honorably. If you hit the first boss in the back, they won't drop health for the second phase.
Huh, I never knew. There was not a second that I wouldn't hit him in the back. I think that's preposterous.
I only learned about this because you fight that character at the start and you get a feat, which I got by accident of play honorably, never hit them in the back.
I saw that trophy after I beat the game. I was like, I wonder what that means. Huh.
It's because they just leave so many openings.
I wanna talk about the parry.
Because that's about where I stopped after getting the parry.
Yeah, the parry, since they don't want to use any more buttons, because it's a big controller. It's only got 2 buttons. You hit the directions like you do in
Third Strike.
Third Strike, yeah. But this is a 2D platformer, so bullets can come from literally any direction. So a lot of things you just can't do that to. And if you do hit one that's a little bit too high, you have to hit it with your sword to actually do the counter attack. So it'll spawn the thing that you hit back above your head. Your sword's got such a tiny hitbox, it won't hit it. And it's just super frustrating. It's like, why is this here? Why did you do this?
Think of Cuphead, where there's like red bullets in that, and say you hit the button to execute it, and then it's just in a state where it's wherever it made contact, and then you have to hit it again to launch it. And some parts felt like you really needed to engage with that, where it's like there's a thing at a distance, and it would be so much easier if I parry and shoot it back at it to solve that problem instead of getting in front of its face. It didn't feel great every time I failed to parry, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
I wish you'd make it a button.
Yeah, again, if you just made it a button, this would be an acceptable mechanic. Maybe have it auto-reflect, because these things can show up in places where it's hard to hit them back. And then they added, you have to do a charge hit to parry it back to get a special parry back. It's like, please, I don't want to be holding this attack button the whole time. You're really annoying about this.
I almost didn't do any of the charge stuff on any of the other moves. I just did it for regular attacks.
Also, I would always, I hit up in attack to start charging my shuriken, right? But no, if you do that, you'll show the shuriken. You gotta charge it and then hit up, or then release it was up in attack.
Yeah, because then that turns the shuriken into a kunai.
Yeah, so I just waste ammo doing that. And I also, it's not like Mega Man where you release the charge early, you shoot. It's release the charge early, you do nothing. Which upset me quite a few times. I feel like this game is just, it got cool art, but it falls so flat in all the gameplay parts that it really wants to be these old games. It just isn't. It feels really bad. So I can't suggest it now, especially now it's jumped up to $20. I got it for 15 before launch.
Yeah, I played through it, and I agree with, like, they definitely need to bind things to more buttons, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I wish there were more bindings for it, but I didn't have that many problems with it, aside from me being bad at it. So there were plenty of like deaths that happened because I just fall into a pit because I'm a dipshit, and I'm like, oh no, come on, man. I did find the dashing stuff toward the end really satisfying, where there's like one section that looks like a nightmare, but you can just slash through enemies if you keep the momentum up, and that felt good to pull off.
Yeah, it's neat looking.
Yeah, I thought. I think it's. I thought it was pretty solid. I didn't have many like actual problems with it.
Oh yeah, the other thing that upset me with it is you have the wall slider like in Mega Man, like Mega Man X.
Yeah.
That thing takes too long to activate. Half the time you'll jump at the wall.
It does?
He won't start the slide, so you can't do another jump off. So you'll just waste your double jump and then fall in a hole. It's like, oh, it's actually an extra half frame.
I don't think I ever experienced that.
Yeah. No, there's a lot if you're trying to play it like how it wants you to play. Of like, okay, you need to slow your brain down a little bit and try and operate like this. And yeah, not a fan.
Yeah, I thought it was dope. I enjoyed a lot of the fights. the actual abilities, not the power-ups for the most part. Thought the music was pretty good too.
I said it on Twitter, but I was like, I wish I had better music, but I was comparing it to, classics like Rondo of Blood that were playing next to me. I was like, I put my headphones
when you were like, Dan's playing this in the background and you said Rondo of Blood, I'm like, yeah, a lot of games are going to lose to Rondo of Blood.
But
I would say like 90% of games will lose to Rondo of Blood.
I think that it loses to literally every Castlevania, like pretty handily. The only things I really remember from the soundtrack for this one were the parts that kind of remind me of Anamanaguchi at the beginning and end, like somewhat remind me of Scott Pilgrim game sound, but everything else just kind of felt like it's NES music. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, Ninja Gaiden has lost to Castlevania.
Yes, that's true.
That's worth noting here.
I was kind of comparing it to the last NES style throwback in terms of music that I played, which was Curse of the Moon 2, and I vibed a lot more with this.
yeah, the gutter that is Inti Creates music. That's fair.
I'm sorry, I was listening recently, and people were like, Inti Creates is making true art. What they do is harder than making most games today, making good pixel art on that level.
That's cool.
I've been holding that one in. I'm not fucking.
That's everything I've been playing for the week.
Okay.
I let that go a little long, but hey, most of us talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a game everyone played. Phil, I wanted to ask before we move on games-wise, are you going back to that game?
No.
Okay, well, let's move on to KZ. KZ, what you been playing?
I played through all of Resident Evil 4 last weekend.
Yeah.
that game fucking rules, except for the target range stuff, and that is really bad because that's a game from 2004. So the aiming in it's kind of bad if you want to be precise. But aside from that, fantastic. Forgot about a third of that game, but that third was still all right.
Which third?
It's a cumulative thing where I forget chunks throughout the game and then smash them together, and that's basically a third of
it's like I can take like a shot at what KZ forgets. Like he forgets the Egypt room where you're in Egypt for 2 rooms.
The Egypt room is insane. I don't know why there's an Egypt room. Someone tried to say, yeah, the island people tend to forget about. I'm like, motherfucker, did you forget that there is a Donkey Kong Country level just in the castle segment for no reason?
I usually forget at least like one of the sections in the castle because there's so many rooms.
I was floored. I was floored by the castle when I was like, we still haven't killed this. We still haven't killed Salazar yet.
Yeah.
I was like, surely we were gonna hit it by now.
I assume you forget the bug room where you melt the stone door like chocolate with a sunbeam. That's a pretty forgettable room.
I did forget. The only thing I remember about the bugs is I gotta shoot them to get the triangles, but one triangle is really rare.
Also the entire like go on my underground sky train and I'm gonna send my scorpion monster to kill you.
Oh no, that I remember. The thing where it drops down like pieces.
Yeah, his hanging Magneto holding tank that you go into.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that because I remember eating shit in it in a bunch because I was doing badly the first time I played through this. And I also got confused on this too because I didn't think you had to shoot the lights. I'm like, that looks more like a button to me. And then I finally, someone in chat's like, I think you can shoot that. I'm like, oh shit, I would not have thought of that, I guess. Yeah, this game's still really good. The script is immaculate. It is firing at maximum effectiveness at all times. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. The gameplay, once you actually get readjusted to the controls, feels really, really good. So whenever it was just like, it's another section where you're shooting dudes, I'm like, good. I would like to continue. I'd like to continue doing that after I tell Ashley to go into a dumpster for a few minutes while I go deal with this problem. Thank God for the chat to tell me, leave her here before the fucking room where the knights come out and they lock the door.
Yeah, that's a nightmare if you take her in.
Yeah, thank God the chat's like, drop her outside. Like, thank you.
I don't think we did that.
I can't
think
remember.
you did the second time because you died once, and I'm like, and then I
Yes.
kept like
That-
leave her outside.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they make you fight like 6 knights in like 2 waves, and then you gotta blow up their armor, and then
And they
Burst
they
the
all have the
fog if they come out of
instant
it.
death heads.
yeah,
At least a bunch of them do.
yeah, that can be rough. Yeah, that game just goes. It just goes, and I was enjoying it quite a bit. A couple of times the game's like, we expect you to do this thing. I hope you do it perfectly, and I'm like, I didn't. I'm dead. Stuff like the escape sequence when they're like, here's what you do to accelerate, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna hold accelerate, to speed up the whole time, because what if you want me to take a tight turn? Oh, you didn't expect people to not just go max the whole time.
That's
Okay.
I'll die.
And then I'm like, I'm sorry, I couldn't see into the future game. I did my best here. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I did play through that. That was a good time. I picked up a little bit more Final Fantasy 3. I'm gonna try and finally finish that next week, or by the time this comes out, probably, because I'm pretty close. And I also grinded in between streams 15 levels, so that should
Yeah, I bet that helps.
normally I wouldn't go that hard, but I've been experiencing packet loss on my internet, and I was like, we're gonna make this next stream the last one. We'll do whatever it fucking takes to get that done. But it's still fun. I'm still having a good time with that. The story's a lot better than the other two by an impressive margin, and some of the cool stuff that it does. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that's all the games for me, because he covered the other 2 things.
Okay. Hey, Phil, what you been playing?
I started Dragon Age 2.
God damn it! How did I not see this coming? I watched that
Bathroom
stream.
break.
Did you notice the desert I was talking about, Phil? I tuned into the beginning of the stream and I saw it.
Okay. So the area at the beginning is the desert you meant. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Now, last big thing to mention, I said in my head that the opening of the game is like a stone square with rocks, and you're in like the skybox void. That's what it is. I was not misremembering. That's pretty much what it is. They did it. Apparently, they improved nothing through patches at all. This was the era when you just didn't patch games.
Right. I still wish that you were playing this on the PS3. I want to see it in its original form factor.
Yes.
I pretty much am, because
No. You don't know.
It runs at a stable frame rate, but it's at 720p and in medium settings, because that's the highest it can go without turning on DirectX 11, which breaks things.
I like the idea of someone being like, I will cover last 7th gen games, but only capturing through a PS3 or an Xbox 360.
No, it has to be
arcade.
PS3. It has to be PS3, because that's the worst on multiplats.
It really
But-
is. Like
Oh yeah, you're
like
right.
The,
I forgot.
the texture
Fucking
quality
hell.
on that desert area is so much worse on the original, and so is all of the characters. You'd have to probably put it to the lowest PC you can do to emulate the PS3
probably.
experience.
But so this game came out in 2011, and that's a long time ago nowadays. But even then, we were technically 6 years into 7th gen.
Good lord.
This game doesn't have scaling UI or subtitles.
Why would it?
I also checked, and nobody gave enough of a shit about this game to make a scalable UI mod. The reason I'm playing it at 720p is not for an irrational reason. It's so the fucking stream can read the subtitles. Because otherwise they are too small to read. And they're still too small. You can just do it. So that part is insane.
Would you say that this is like one of the worst big Western games of that year?
2011.
Because I'm looking at the
I mean,
other
it's one of the worst. It's one of the worst games of that gen. So
yeah,
like the worst.
because I'm looking at stuff that was released that year: Saints Row the Third.
Oh
LA
yeah,
Noire,
worse.
Gears of War
Uncharted.
3,
Worse. Fucking Deus Ex Human Revolution, LA Noire, Dead Space
Skyrim.
2. Yeah, it's worse than all of these things. Like Arkham City, it's worse. Portal 2, it's worse. Fucking
Yeah.
Witcher,
Yeah,
The Witcher
I-
2, it's worse.
Yeah, I just thought it'd give a nice snapshot to the listeners of just like other things that were happening around this.
Now, this game, I had forgotten how unbelievably cheap it was. Because this game was made in about a year. Now that's shitty, but it's not unheard of that gen, or even this gen, really. You know, yearly installments, and sometimes it is the same studio. Not only is this a sequel like a year and a half after the last one, they changed everything.
Ooh, awesome.
I assume what they did was they decided that they were going to use the Mass Effect shit for everything. Because the characters have different proportions now. It uses Mass Effect's dialogue system. Which, by the way, the fucking dialogue system. In Mass Effect, you know, it's the dialogue wheel with 6 options. And normally, in Mass Effect, they were good guy normal, which was top right. Neutral, which was the medium right, normal bad guy, which was bottom right, and then the left was the abilities related to those like moralities, where like you could be super nice or super mean if you put points into the skill, and then there was like something to get more information, like it switched to a different menu where you could get information. Dragon Age doesn't have like a good bad morality system, so instead the options are mean, nice, or Joss Whedon.
Is that sarcastic?
No, because the middle option, because it gives you an emblem in the center of what you're picking, and the middle option is a laughing jester mask, and it's the main character says a quip. So, because I am a bad person, I named my hawk, because you can't decide their last name, you can only decide their first name. Because it does the Mass Effect shit where it's like, we give your character a...
Shepherd.
Yeah, so that they can be referred to in voice acting. I named her Reddit Hawk. And I am only picking the laughing jester face.
He's a
You're
man
a
of the
bad
people.
man, but we already knew that. We already knew he was evil, fucked up.
But onto this game being cheap. This game has 6 areas. They're not big areas.
It's like Shinobi Do 2.
We talked about the cave
or something.
Yeah, it's a 40-hour RPG. We talked about the caves, but what I didn't remember is that mansions are the same way.
No.
Whenever you go into a fancy mansion to do a quest, it's the exact same layout, and certain parts will be cut off to you so you don't figure it out. Except you can still figure it out because you have the fucking mini-map, which is the same mini-map every single time. Also, every warehouse is the exact same warehouse, which you can tell because of the mini-map.
What was that DuckTales game we played, Dan? Was that on the Amiga?
I think it was, yes.
Yes, that Amiga DuckTales game.
Where you go to Atlantis and it's a cave, and then you go to like the pyramids and it's a cave, and then you go to Transylvania and it's a cave.
The only place that wasn't a cave.
Wash your hands.
The only thing that wasn't a cave was the Florida Everglades. Everything else was a fucking cave.
The same cave.
The same cave.
Yeah, but the game is 3 city areas and 3 right outside the city. There's like 3 natural areas.
I watched you play this for a very limited amount of time because I have much better things to do having seen it. When you hit a plains area that looked indistinguishable from Trails of Cold Steel, a Vita JRPG with no money.
Yes, the areas are worse. Because at least Trails of Cold Steel has a bunch of them.
Oh
This
yeah,
has
you're
3.
right. Because I made note of the fact that Trails of Cold Steel's environments, at least, I can't say for animation because they're both kind of abysmal in the first outing. It's a toss-up. But the environments, Cold Steel had it better because it had things that would do pop-in, because there were things in the environment. There's just nothing in the map in Dragon Age 2.
Yeah, there's nothing in the
There's
map
no
in
need
Dragon
to
Age.
pop anything in.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I would have been shocked that a dragon showed up when I watched you play. I was surprised it didn't just T-pose in.
KZ, there was a part where it had an ogre attacked, and because I had spun around the camera to be looking behind me, which I guess they didn't expect me to fucking do. I don't know why they don't expect situational awareness to be a skill people have. It just spawns in. Like, there's nowhere for it to have been hiding. Like, it doesn't come from around a corner. It just spawns in. It slowly fades in and starts attacking you, which is what most things do. They have in the city, they can do things. They can spawn things behind a pillar, and if you're in the right place, you can still see it. Or they have guys drop from above your line of view, even when that makes no sense with architecture. Also because they wanted this game to be awesome and for you to feel very strong and cool, every fight is against 50 enemies who have basically no health instead of like 5 enemies that have more health.
You got to take out the horde.
So it feels like a Muso. Especially since I'm playing on easy and I can hit the awesome button.
BioWare Muso with no money.
I can hit the awesome button, which I don't know if this is the button they meant to be the awesome button, but it's the button that just makes you attack the nearest thing, which just makes me jump like 10 feet in the air and double stab down with my daggers because I'm playing a rogue. And that usually one-shots normal, like small enemies, and then they explode like blood balloons because they have to be awesome.
Yeah, you were explaining the awesome button in there, and I want you to know. You know what I was doing while watching your stream?
What?
I was playing Balan Wonderworld.
I mean, every button's the awesome button.
Yeah, at the same time, I was playing that for the first time and going, everywhere I look, there's problems.
But like, here's the extent of the no money beyond, padding, all the no areas. We're in the first act right now. Dragon Age 2 has 3 acts, which isn't even like an official thing. It's just what people call it because it has 3 distinct chunks of time, like distinct periods in the timeline the game happens in, because there's multiple time skips. In Act 1, the story is the entirety of Act 1. There is nothing else. You need 50 gold to invest in this expedition. Go do side quests until you have 50 gold. And then once you go on the expedition, you do the expedition, which is like an hour long, and then that's the end of Act 1. That's your entire... Act 1 is just go do side quests. And they're the worst side quests you've ever seen in the entire world. Because they're all... You either get a letter or check a board that has jobs on them. Very few of them involve talking to NPCs because that costs money. The vast majority of them are like this detached from reality, detached from like actual gameplay note. And then you go to one of the 3 maps, kill 4 people, and then talk to an NPC, and he'll say one sentence and give you something.
Ooh.
Thank.
But the biggest part of like the biggest sign of the no money to me, like it's already structured basically like a fucking PSP game where you go to the same areas over and over and over and over and just do slightly different objectives there. It's like, that's not a joke. It's structured like a PSP game.
Dragon Age Portable Ops.
Except I bet Portable Ops and Third Birthday and all of these and Crisis Core have more maps.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But normally in like a Western RPG, they can't actually make like wildly different content based on what you do. It's just not viable. So normally what they'll do is they'll be like, the first 90% of the content in a quest will be the same, regardless of what you do. Like, we'll use Dragon Age 1 as an example. Like, the Dwarf King, the nice racist versus the asshole progressive. No, the first thing they have you do for them is different from each other. The second 2 are the same. And the first one is very, very small in comparison to the second 2. So it's normally like 90%, maybe 80 or 70 if you're really lucky, are the same, and then it branches out. And makes you feel smart because you used your dialogue skills, or you did stealth, or you had a skill that let you do something. So you can feel like you had a unique experience. Here's a quest in Dragon Age 2. An obviously evil lady says, escort this giant horned ogre who is a slave out of the city. So you take him out of the city, and you meet a bunch of other ogres. They're called Kunari. They have big horns. They look evil, but they're not evil. They're like Mandalorians basically. They say, okay, give him to us, and you can say no or yes, and if you say no, your character's like, well, what does he want? And then the slave gets on his knees because ideology, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna kill him because like he's a mage and he escaped his keeper, which means that a demon might be in him, so we have to kill him just to be safe. And your options are no, fuck you, or yes. Go ahead. If you pick no, you fight all these guys, and the mage is still alive. The mage ogre is horned guy is still alive. And then he goes, no, I wanted to die. And then he self-immolates. He just fucking sets himself on fire and dies.
I love
what?
Western.
If you say yes, go ahead, if you say yes, go ahead, they kill him, and then they go, and then in theory, they should leave, right? They should just leave you alone because you did what they asked. You caused them no problem. They go, no, he talked to you, so there might be a demon in you, so we have to kill you now, and then you have to kill them.
Every game that does anything close to that type of choice consequence thing sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I can never get past it. I'm like, fucking don't give me a choice then.
Here's the really egregious part. First of all, every single choice in Dragon Age 2 is like that. There is no avoiding encounters in Dragon Age 2 because they had no time. You have to experience every single thing they made. I've talked about this before, and spoilers for the fucking stream. There's the part at the end where you have to decide whether with the mages or the Templars. If you side with the Templars, the head mage goes, how could you betray us, and turns into a big monster, and you have to have a boss fight with him. If you side with the mages, he goes, it's hopeless, I'm going to turn into a big monster, and then you have to fight him. He might as well just say, we made a boss fight, you're not getting out of it. But the really egregious part is you go back to the woman who set you up, because she set you up to get killed by those guys that you had to fight. For no reason other than that she's still alive later in the game. You cannot kill her. You can even say, I should kill you for this, but you don't, and you can't. And there is no reason, because you can kill so many people in this game for such pithy, nothing offenses against you. But this woman who set you up, you cannot kill because they needed her later in the game and could not figure out a reason for you not to kill her, but also did not have time to do the after effects of you killing her. I also did the Felicia Day DLC, which is 2 hours of just the fucking worst thing in the entire world. Felicia Day is a melting elf. Bad. She says quirky things and gives 3 people blowjobs. That's not a joke. She goes into a room because she has to get a key at this party. You're trying to get the key to the mansion so you can get inside and steal stuff. Shit.
Yeah.
So you talk to a guy and she's like, I'll convince them. And then they go into the room and there's like flirty dialogue. And she comes out and like, I don't have the key. They didn't have it. And that happens 4 times. And it really comes off like she's just sucking them off in that room. I guess they thought that was quirky. And then the last one, he basically calls her ugly. And then Hawk just walks in and punches them and takes the key.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with her model. Her model looks like she's melting. It barely even looks like her.
Yeah. It looks like her put through the 7th gen filter.
And then melted.
Yes. No one deserves the 7th gen filter.
That is correct.
But yeah, that DLC is bad. It has more unique areas than the entire normal game put together. It ends with a boss fight, which the game generally doesn't really have other than this. It has a mechanic, which none of the fights in the main game do. It's a really stupid mechanic where the guy shoots his magical goo gun at you and makes you stinky, so the dragon he's riding will want to eat you. So you stand in front of a cliff and he dives at you and falls off the cliff, and you hack at his hands until he falls.
Would you recommend Dragon Age 2?
Fuck no. also, every party member is fucking intolerable.
Well, hopefully Inquisition will be better, right?
No.
Yeah, I heard that got some Game of the Years.
I mean, Dragon Age 2 got an 8. Dragon Age 2 is sitting at an 82 on Metacritic.
Fuck.
That Felicia Day DLC has an 83.
Yeah, game reviewers love those. No matter how bad they get, it doesn't.
Did anybody give Game of the Year to Dragon Age 2? I don't think so, because there's no Game of the Year edition, which I don't think anybody...
Yeah, I hope not, because I know Inquisition won Jeff Keighley's thing.
And Dragon Age Origin won some awards, but I don't think Inquisition won any. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm looking it up right now because I have to know. Did anybody give it Game of the Year? It should be in like the accolades section, right?
You only play the highest of quality things.
Critical reception. Nope, it didn't get any Game of the Awards. Game of the Year awards. You know what? At least Dragon Age 2 has music.
God, what a bar.
Origins didn't have music.
Whoa.
I mean, it did, but it was like never there. People repeatedly asked me, Phil, does this game have music? Because it's so like such ambient nothing bullshit. But hey.
Ambient music is a disease for video games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done now. At least until next week, where I'm.
Phil, did you really just play nothing good at all for an entire week?
I did
I did
a couple runs of RE3.
Oh, okay.
But that's not really worth talking about. I got the achievement for only using one healing item.
I was worried you just suffered an entire week.
It's fine. I have Atelier Rise 2 on my desk. I'll play that before the next dimension.
Yeah, big thighs.
Also, it's actually will probably be good because the first one was.
He's falling down a well. Someone go get him.
Yeah,
the Podlords can get me.
Down.
Oh shit! The fucking Podlord!
What are they doing in this wow?
Help us, we're in a well with Mr. Feel with the Podlords. Podlords such as
What was that jingle?
Danny Richardson.
Like,
What is there not normally a jingle there? I've been singing this whole time. Are you editing out my jingles?
yes.
KZ, I have done 104 jingles and you're telling me you edited them all out.
Hey, if it makes you feel better, I don't do the coin noise anymore.
That is not a fair trade.
Oh, okay.
Bullshit. Okay, gotta restart the trade. Danny Richardson. Lee Broyle.
These two can never leave. I will not be able to cope with Podlords if you don't start this way.
See, the funny thing is, in my head, they were like, we're never going to get to the lead of executive producer on GigaBoots because the people ahead of us won't drop out. So we need to make sure we get the lead on the Podlord.
Like, I get stressed thinking about some bizarro thing where somehow we start with Busey.
Oh,
We need pacing.
Terrible lizard mess. Corey Brown. Red Blaze 27. Anime is for jerks.
sure is.
Suzushiro. Emperor Zero. Sheeby Weeby.
Still,
It's bad.
Yup.
Please look forward to next week's BTD guest, starring Felicia Day,
Feel this is all your fault.
Matty Mo. I'm getting excited at the possibility of KOTOR 3. Can't wait for the Gary Busey themed curse content by commit to T.
thank God.
101 Shades of Wonderful Remastered. WTF Spider-Man. Mr. I like spam. W. No! You can't ruin our short stock by buying into a dying company and making us bankrupt. Jimmy, stock prices go brrr.
Suffer.
The invisible hand has revealed itself. Will you fight or die like a dog? Bob, did you know that's actually the invisible hand of the market?
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
It's true. Me, when Melvin Capital says the Redditors are hurting them. Hey, quick. Atlas Japan is asleep. Port the Trauma Center games.
Yeah, like, come on, dude. Please. Even on PC, I'll take it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would love that on PC.
I've given up on you even making another one. Just port.
Just fucking port them. Christ. Santi Kunai. Kristen C. Dripberry.
Yeah!
Doink, but it's in the Supreme font.
Oh my god!
Devil Summoner Raido Kuzunoha versus Digital Devil Saga Switch Edition. Killer 7 win. Adam has no bit this time. He's just appreciating the unbridled progressive chaos going on. Aren't we all? Kyle Bjork. If there was a Fate theme month, it would consist entirely of Dan feeding Saber tacos.
A good month.
Hell yeah. Oh my god. My left arm, the one you cut off, wants to defeat you. Time for payback with interest. Zelda Twilight Princess manga, which is very raw.
I bet.
Yeah, no, that image is pretty raw. They just posted a fucking panel where they say that. It's really good. It is time for Stonk to rise and hedges to be cut.
Yes. Power to the players.
Power to the players. Byakuya Togami made $1 million off of the first church of gaming.
Good job.
Zilter. The next Overwatch character.
Yeah. I guess.
No, I'm totally fine with that.
They're gonna add Bam.
That'd be funny. Bam's running around with Reaper.
Oh.
Viva la Bam, but he's like ruining Talon's base.
Oh.
Zastarder. Also, try out Lobotomy Corporation. Please, Mr. Bobbert, may I trade in this scratched up copy of GTA 5 on PS3 for just one measly stock?
No.
No, they're $12 million now. Reggie's like, wait, am I rich again? And everyone just nods.
Nice.
Kurozora wants you to platinum 13 Sentinels too. I will when it comes out. Blig de Blue.
No, damn.
Blig de Blue.
It's TOO.
What? Oh. Craig Goss. Cyberpunk is out, but I'll finish Mass Effect Andromeda with 97% completion. Now moving on to Dragon Quest XI S Echoes of and then it cut it off. Imagine. This is the backlog, Pod Lord.
And it echoes of an elusive resolution.
It's like when KZ got discorded that one time. He's like, I don't know about that.
No, that was the worst.
It was fucking unreal. Comedians don't have that good of timing. The fact Discord did is amazing.
It ruins our life most of the time. It needed to give us a win.
$120 for Xbox Live. It better suck my dick for $120.
If it goes past $60 for any online service, it's gonna need to suck my dick.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Daniel, the Taco Bell nacho fries in my burrito did not satiate me. Bring me Beaver Warrior so that I may consume him. It's the
fucking Beaver Warrior's the best.
What?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's a Yu-Gi-Oh monster.
Oh my god.
Tickets, please.
Yeah! That character fucking rules World of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
What is it? Who gave Adler yakisoba pod? Show yourself. Delicious yakisoba pod.
Real Angel gave that one away.
Lamu. Me when I launch Genshin. It's still the SpongeBob sardine getting its eyes roasted.
SpongeBob.
Feel getting his thirst quenched watching Wall Street folks crying about GameStop stock.
Yep.
Stupid fucking dog.
The face is getting closer on Cooper Tank and it's really funny.
Oh no!
I haven't been posting it, but it's just getting bigger and bigger every week.
Playing the long game.
Oh yeah, by the way, Cooper Tank. Kazi Excellent is here to gank optimistically.
I still don't know what that is. I assume it's a MOBA.
I assume I posted this image last time too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. And the Xbox Series name manager, when he saw their Xbox Live price increased, failed. It's a picture of the Riddler with an Xbox Series X thing on his head. Thank you very much to our Podlords.
Thank you, Podlords.
Thank you, Podlord.
Gracias.
And if you'd like to become a Podlord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/GBpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get many benefits such as early access to Chugging Bleach and Mondo Cool, our Bleach and Dragon Ball movie review podcast. As well, you get Cursed Content Club commentary tracks where we watch bad movies and you watch them with us, and some people listen to the commentary tracks on their own and I guess make up a movie in their head. Cursed Content by Committee, our user-voted Cursed Content show, which also comes with a commentary track, and Extended Armchair Dev Pitches, where you hear the things that were left on the cutting room floor of the show because the show is designed to not let us talk. That's patreon.com/GB podcast.
We're going to start news strong.
Oh?
Bob, top line of your news.
The hit game Biomutant finally got a date.
Hell yeah.
We've been hearing about this for, I feel like 8 years. I might be wrong there.
It's been a while.
It's that weird animal open world thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's THQ making this giant open world game where you get to customize your own little furry animal. May 25th this year for PS4, Xbox One, PC.
Those numbers are slightly
Biomutant.
wrong. What? Excuse me, what? There's no way. What? You don't...
Biomutant.
you play as the Rocket Raccoon and you go around a big open forest.
I can't... Okay. I'm losing it. He just hasn't even fucking seen it.
I guess that sounds cool.
It's so it was like supposed to be this huge thing of like, oh, they're doing original IP over there at THQ Nordic. That's cool. And then the game just never came out, and it was like, that is still happening over there, right, guys?
I believe pre-orders have been up at GameStop for years. We had box arts at least 5 or 6 years ago.
So who knows if this thing still has this feature, but the idea is that you have hyper levels of customization on your main character.
I'm looking at a gameplay trailer from June of 2020, and it seems to still have that, but it's also giving me real Heavenly Sword vibes.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm sure the combat won't be good. It's open world.
So I'm glad we got a date on that. Thank you, Bob, for knocking that out of the park. I nearly had a stroke when you said that happened.
I can't believe it's not next gen. Like, I thought they were delaying it for that sake.
You would think. It's okay. It's going to be the furry version of Cyberpunk.
Yes.
What, they'll pretend that they weren't trying to market it for last gen the entire time.
Oh, no, I just mean to say that you'll get on a motorcycle and your furry animal's cock and balls will randomly be out.
A Cyberpunk thing I didn't put in the news because it was so minor, but it's pretty funny. They released their mod kit this week and immediately had to go, please do not make mods where you fuck Keanu Reeves. Because one happened instantly.
Jesus fucking Christ.
It immediately appeared in his ass.
Jesus fucking Christ. Bob, knock out your other news so we leave your news circle.
Sure. Tomb Raider's getting an animated series on Netflix, and it's the new Tomb Raider series, the reboot series. It takes place after that.
Make a cartoon of anything over there.
What's the point of this? She can't even be horribly mutilated because there's you can't. Respawn.
Did you see the Castlevania?
Yeah, the
series?
Castlevania series was
her every single time.
Yeah, I can.
Unless in the first episode she's like, Laura, you found the secret of immortality. Now you'll never die, no matter what happens. And then a bear just comes out off camera. And
it's funny. She's just Kenny from South Park.
Every episode ends with that same bear mauling her.
They can do They can do this a couple ways. They can be like, okay, she dies in the dream sequence. What? She looks at something where she could horribly fall down, thinks about it, and then realizes, no, I shouldn't do that jump. After it shows graphically dying.
Yeah.
Just someone else has a dream.
Yes.
Someone has a premonition.
Ooh.
The villain imagines what he's going to do.
I love our podcast. It's the worst.
I'm sure this cartoon will be better than the newer games. That's a bar. Yeah.
They said since this takes place after those, do you think the show will be about her becoming the Tomb Raider?
Shut up.
Probably will be, KZ. I don't know if she'll achieve it, though.
Oh, okay. She still has a long way to go.
Okay, KZ, I want to knock out what people really came here for. Go ahead and talk about the Microsoft news.
All right, we discussed last week, because we saw things that sounded like they were going to be raising the price of Xbox Live
Raising.
Doubling it. Doubling it. And I said something like, this has to be not real because it seems evil. And then it turns out, no, that was real. And then everyone went scorched earth, from journalists to everyone.
Literally.
And within 12 hours, they went, we at Xbox are always looking out for you and trying to do what's best for you. So we've listened, and we are no longer going to be doing the price hike. And now, free-to-play games you don't need to pay for live. So please like us, even though we're evil and tried to fuck you really bad.
And I've seen this go two very frustrating but notably different directions. One direction is, see, this is why Xbox is good. They listen. And I'm like, no, that's not. You're incredibly stupid or literally being disingenuous by saying this. Those are the only two. There is no. Okay, maybe I'm blessed, but I've never been so huge of a fanboy of anything in my life where they tried to double the price. Everyone went, no, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, see, they're the good guys. Like, that's an insane level of deep in, like, the cult.
Yeah, that's, like...
The discussion I've seen around it from games media is, this was a bad idea, but come on, they were just trying to get more people to get into Game Pass.
Okay, so that's idiotic, and those people need to shut up, because that's not a good incentive to hurt your customer base. Consoles being a walled garden is a perfectly fine proposal in as much as we do not absolutely milk the people who play on consoles for every nickel and dime because they have to play online through the system. It's bad enough at $60. As I've mentioned on this podcast and in our content multiple times, the major reason, the last straw, I went with a PS3 instead of a 360 that generation was because they charged for Xbox Live. When Sony announced that they were going to charge for online for the PS4, that really pissed me off. That has been Microsoft's number one innovation they have brought to the game industry. That and hard drives.
Fucking shaking you up and down till the quarters fall out of your pants.
Because the revenue stream's just too good to pass up. So that's one way I've seen this go.
I forget about the free-to-play thing, which is fucking insane.
Yes, that's nuts. At least Sony doesn't do that. But even still, fuck paying for online. So that's one way I've seen it going with people. And weirdly enough, I've seen a lot of people go the second way. Okay? I've seen a lot of people say, this was a brilliant marketing scheme. Like, what?
Yeah, creating and printing out all those cards and sending them to retailers.
Retailers really do love managing stock of a marketing scheme. That's what they're in the business of, receiving shipments of, scanning in, and managing the side effects of a really brilliant marketing scheme. And you know what's not really brilliant? Portraying your company as completely exploitative and tone deaf. Completely fucking clueless.
Good marketing scheme?
Huh.
The Xbox One approach in the press conferences. Clearly that was also a marketing scheme.
Oh, yeah.
So that when they turned it around, everyone would be like, that's really cool. Instead of people just thinking it was bad the entire time and never learning that it changed.
Yep.
Because I imagine some people are going to still think this.
Yeah. Yeah, because...
Like, there's going to be a small minority that just goes, what? I heard it was like $100 to play online.
So here's the amazing thing that I don't see a lot of people talking about. How much does it cost currently? Because they got rid of the year-long cards. Those are gone.
Ugh.
They're still not back.
Yeah, I don't know if they're bringing them back.
Maybe they're going to come back now.
I'm going to look this up real quick. Xbox Live Gold 6 month. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, they already raised the price effectively.
If the most you can get is 6 months at a time right now, that means you're paying $80 a year.
Yeah, that's what I understood it to be. It seems like people... One moment. Da-da-da-da-da. If you are an Xbox Live Gold member already, you stay at your current price for renewal. So I guess as long as you never set it to be anything other than a year, possibly, then you'll be fine at $60 a year.
You pay on PlayStation.
Yes. Lucky you.
What a privilege.
And I was pissed when PlayStation fucking pulled that clown shit where they're like, we're upping it $10 more.
Yeah. I was furious. I'm always furious. You don't understand how important it is to not nickel and dime people. People need gaming to get through really hard shit, and the last thing they need is it to be like a money siphon, even when they don't buy new shit for it. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Wow, when I go to their website, all we can find now is 1 month and 3 months.
Great. So that's insane, and I'm glad that literally the entire internet, including Ryan McCaffrey and oh man, his name has already left my mind. What is it, Jeff
Warren?
Even I was going to say Jeff Grubb, but yes, also Tom Warren. All of them just being like, "Wow, this is clown shoe shit. You need to roll this back." Made Microsoft roll this back. When even those three are just like, "This is a nightmare. What are you doing?"
Jeff Grubb was the reason I remembered that free to play was still locked away by Xbox Live when he's like, "Oh, okay, $120 a year to play Fortnite."
Yeah.
Don't forget it. Until recently on Xbox, which in the last few years, you still needed to pay them to watch Netflix.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Yeah. It's
What's going on over there?
they're trying to get away with everything they can, and they've been doing okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's funny they tried to do this when everyone has that magnifying glass on them, too. It's like, yeah, we're all stuck at home. You just released a new console. We're still looking at you.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're not looking at games because you didn't put out any of those, so we have to look at you instead.
This seems like some shit you would do halfway through a console generation. Right now, they need the best press they can get, to get people to come on over.
You usually wait like a little bit before you do stupid stuff, like how PlayStation waited like one E3 to unveil shit like Powers. They're like, let's have a good conference before we waste 20 minutes of this one.
Until we siphon human life via press conference.
God!
Yeah, and based on their sales numbers, they're not doing absolutely stellar either before the launch or the launch and before the launch, because they said their hardware sales were up 82% or some huge number when it was this new console launch. And I'm like, when's the last time you sold an Xbox?
Right?
Like, wait a second.
Yeah, they were touting some like high things, but no numbers, of course.
Right, relative numbers, never absolute numbers, because then people will own you and point out that you haven't been selling well for a while. But that's like, none of that fucking matters. This matters. Them trying to screw people matters. This is exactly why we need competition. Because if they could have done that and they didn't have a competitor, they could have just done it. But now that it's like, hey, we're at the beginning of this console generation, we're going to double the price of online, and everyone's like, okay, then we're going to not buy your system. That's when they start to go, shit.
Ooh.
Yeah. We always tried to do right by you. That's why we tried to double the price.
Yeah. That part genuinely, I don't actually get mad when it comes to dumb shit Microsoft has done or has not done correctly in the past like year and a half, 2 years, especially with the lead up here. That pissed me off.
That was the threshold when they said we always tried to do right by you.
The threshold of trying to be like, everything we do here is for you. In regards to doubling the price of a service that's adding no value.
Yeah, none.
Yeah, they didn't announce a single thing positive here. Like, that's insane.
Here's the thing. I don't think I think if they melted Game Pass into this somehow.
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to say. It's like you're not bundling Game Pass Ultimate to this. You're just making another service cost more just because you want to see if you can achieve that.
Yeah. It sucks.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like that was shocking, and it's no shock that they ran back on it, because I feel like executives could have looked at that, and some people who were there for the past like 8 years went, "Oh, this is 2013 again. We have to go. We have to stop now."
I kind of wanted them to at least wallow in this for a month straight, just so that it would be fully ingrained. Like, it would never leave them at that point.
Because here's the thing, people...
I don't necessarily want them to explode. I would like them to do better, but...
It's to the point where someone else needs to come up, because they clearly aren't. Like, they're past the pale. They just want to live on Game Pass. And yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks a lot. I mean, the number one thing... The thing that upsets me about shit like this where they're doubling the prices. I have friends who only play Xbox. There are a lot of listeners to this channel that are Xbox gamers. I think
and almost went bankrupt with this announcement.
I think it's insane that you would just try to ruin your relationship with all of them over nothing, over the concept that you need to get the price of gold closer to Game Pass.
I don't know how this passes. I don't see how that passes the like certification. If everyone sees it and goes, yes, because of course the intention is to be an asshole to try and make money here.
Yeah.
But when it hits double in that way, red flags have to go off of no one is going to allow this.
So they were hoping nobody would notice, and then it would be like Dan said, well, that's how much I paid normally every 6 months.
Here's the thing that always gets me about this, though, is like we have this narrative that Microsoft has been spinning since the beginning of Xbox One. And it is legitimately a narrative, and the journalists side with that. That is, Phil Spencer's fixing Xbox. And it's like, how does that narrative make sense if somehow we got all the way to the point of publishing that they were going to double it? Like, how can you be in charge and fixing shit and have a fucking clue and announce you're doing that? That anyone with a functioning human brain who's ever seen a gamer, who's ever talked to anyone who isn't a super rich person, who has a frame of reference for history and economics even, would tell you, yeah, you can't just double the price of a good. Like, imagine you went to your grocery store, right? Next week, every loaf of bread's $7.
Oh, no.
Like,
I need my white bread.
Like, a lot of people will change what they're doing. You will drop shitloads. You'll drop a huge amount of people if you change the price of a good by twofold.
Yeah, like Netflix, when they do this, they do it $1 at a time because they know they can trick people with that.
And they've gone too far. I dropped them.
Yeah, me too. Like they've now hit the point where they've done that like 8 times.
Here's the funny thing. They still haven't doubled it since you guys signed up.
No, they haven't.
Yeah. But they got close enough to $20 a month that I said, go fuck yourself. The quality is not that good.
I mean, it's not. Like, a normal 1080p Blu-ray looks so much better than fucking Netflix's 4K that it's insane.
Yeah, I've been watching Bleach through Netflix, and I'm just gonna buy the Blu-rays now instead.
It's pretty nice. It's not the best, but it's pretty nice.
It's better than what I imagine Netflix is supporting.
Yeah, it's not great. We switched a lot recording Chuck.
If you want like an idea of just like how do people just go and say like Phil Spencer's fixing Xbox, like has this past him? I have seen multiple people say, here's what really happened. The executives wanted to raise this price and double it. But Phil Spencer, he knows what the gamers want. And he knows that it was a bad idea. But they didn't listen. So he was going to teach them a lesson and let it go past. Then he could show that it was a bad idea because all the blowback. He's so smart.
That's fucking... Do you think Phil's... God...
I know.
That's a level beyond being brainwashed.
Phil Spencer can get enough money to buy Bethesda, but he can't stop that.
One of these things caused the other.
Yes.
You know what? I'm fucking tired of this. People keep trying to say Microsoft. For the past year, we've had to endure these arcs of rumors that Microsoft was going to do something really cool. Like, the Series X will be sold way below cost because they really want to win. Oh, they're going to make Xbox Live free because they really want to win. They're not interested in fucking spending money unless they get a bunch of powerful IPs like they did with Bethesda. They're not interested in giving you, customer, a good deal.
Let me explain. The only thing more important to a company than making money is the idea of how much money they could potentially make with whatever they've done. So that's why they bought a company with a shitload of IPs. That's a lot of potential money.
Yeah, they've done nothing cool. They've announced things that could be cool eventually if they're allowed to become cool. Aside from that, they've just bought things to take away from other people.
Yeah, maybe.
And then try
possibly.
to charge you more. Maybe, possibly, they legally can't say that yet until the deal closes.
How fucked up is it that we related the Phil Spencer interview to Phil Spencer says he won't hit you, but he could hit you. And then this happens, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
We always do what's best for you. It's the same thing that your abusive parent says.
Yes. And like the number one reason I made a tweet that basically said that was because I saw people in the replies who reminded me of people from my childhood who had that serious level of this is normal. Where like they reminded me of that, where they were just like, nah, Microsoft's great. They didn't do bad. Phil Spencer stopped them. And I'm like, God, please. Either just don't try to spin it, accept the reality, and accept that you're taking a mild L, or get out. Like, it sucks. It sucks. We need to move on though. Unless Phil wanted to say anything. Did you?
I don't know. There was stuff in what is his name? Daniel Ahmad's thread about it that fucking gave me an aneurysm. Where it's like,
yeah, you said something.
I said that the thread made me realize like they're not even a game company anymore. And what I meant is like a Game Pass company is different than a game company.
Yeah, a game company makes games, and
they're going to, and this thing I think proves like they're not going to make the same decisions as a company that wanted to sell you a platform by making meaningful content. Like their first attempt to boost Game Pass subscriptions was a trick. Like that was their first go-to, is to raise the price of Xbox Live and hope you would get upset and give them more money.
That's what people do when they get upset. They give you more money.
But the big thing, I don't want to go into it too much, but the big thing that gave me an aneurysm was just the realization that Game Pass has way higher profit margins than Live. And Live is basically all profits. How bad are devs getting fucked on Game Pass if almost all of Game Pass is profit margin for them?
So that was the part of that thread that made no sense to me, and I don't know where that's coming from, where they said Game Pass has higher profit margins than Live. It's like, how?
He could just be pulling shit out of his ass, but that's what he said, and I trust him to know more than me.
I mean, here's the thing. I trust people to know some stuff, but that thing makes so little sense with everything we know. Every fucking company, even Daniel Ahmad, when talking about these companies, has talked about, the online service is like 95% profit margins. So how the fuck is it higher?
They could just pay those studios that get on Game Pass almost nothing.
I mean, I would like to note that repeat offender 505 Games doesn't pay the dev when they fucking sign up, apparently, according to certain devs.
Oh, no. That's vile. That's obliterating any money they make.
So when you don't need to pay the devs, you can save some money. Speaking of which, look forward to what's on fucking Plus later in this news roundup.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I was just confused because when Phil came out of that thread and said Microsoft's never shipping a game again, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's fucking...
I mean,
I feel like that's a bit of a massive jump here. They need to put things on the surface.
Not really. They can just buy companies. But more importantly than that, I think...
Yeah, I know. I can punch Microsoft quite a bit. But this universe where all the 25 video games they're making and none of them come out, I'm not going to pretend like they won't all not come out.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything we should have learned from Microsoft with Battletoads, it's that they will ship a thing.
They will ship anything.
And
yeah,
for
but
some
that
reason,
started in development in 2015, Dan.
Yeah.
The only reason I think Perfect Dark is going to come out is because it started development 18 years ago. The other thing that really, like, the 1-2 punch that hit me on this was also the response the Medium has gotten.
Oh, yeah.
Where I died.
Where people are calling it Netflix filler, and I just, like, I had
Imran
this
Khan just referred to it. It's perfect for Game Pass. It's like those Netflix movies that you would never watch normally, but it's like filler on Netflix.
It's like that thread from Daniel Ahmad and this. Like, they combine to make a horrible Voltron in my brain, because it's like, okay, Microsoft needs the profit margins on Game Pass to be as high as possible because it's basically keeping them afloat right now. Like, their strategy is to stay alive until they can suck everyone into Game Pass and then make infinite money. It's a plan that has failed every single time it has ever been attempted in the history of humanity. But I'm sure Microsoft will pull it off.
I mean, Microsoft now views this as a services company, which makes sense. They are a Silicon Valley company. They all do that.
But the combination of this thing, like, in my brain, it goes to, all their studios are going to shoot for 7, and none of them are going to, like, they're never going to make a game on the scale of a Sony first party game because that is wildly unprofitable in tandem with Game Pass.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
it would be shitty to be an Xbox fan and look at these Sony things and be like, Microsoft will never even try to make something like this because of their new business strategy.
I can't see a world where, because we already hear all sorts of things of like multiple of those games that haven't shipped yet are sort of aiming for games as a service. You know, they're aiming for more of a Sea of Thieves
Stop
thing.
reminding me.
I'm just saying that it makes sense then if you're not planning on selling like 8 or 10 or 6 million copies of your game for $60 or $70 each, that you don't spend God of War Ragnarok money. You don't spend, you know, I mean, do you even spend Spider-Man Miles Morales money?
Dan, don't worry.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Phil Spencer has specifically said they wouldn't do that thing you said that they are doing right now, and almost certainly are.
There's also just like
that is true, and I hate life where he went. Yeah, we can't do 8 million service games because people won't have time to play any of them.
And then
but they're probably doing it. I'm going to eat my hands.
There's also just like the element of, and we see their drones say things like this, which makes me worried that someone at the company shares that viewpoint of like, well, yeah, the game's like a 7, but it's on Game Pass.
I mean, they bought nothing but C-tier studios until they bought Bethesda.
Check this out, okay? I don't think it needs to be in the messaging, because what they did for 1 year straight is they hammered into people's heads. Game Pass is the Netflix of gaming. And now every person who logs into their Game Pass and plays a bad game from Microsoft goes, yeah, but it's okay because it's like Netflix. It was a bad Netflix movie.
I hate this because we found a new term that is slowly becoming that toxic thing that whenever a game was announced or shown, it's like, this would be perfect for the Switch. Because people will just like port it because it's portable, it can go on the Switch and there's no real reason for it. The worst thing we get now is this is a perfect Game Pass game. What's a perfect Game Pass game? Something you don't want to buy.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that.
Tropa Land Wonderworld on there.
Oh, yeah. One fucking Bland Wonderworld. Perfect for Game Pass. Can you imagine if that fucking had next gen pricing?
I was floored that they were charging $60.
Yeah, I'm also kind of floored. This could have good mechanics, and I would still question that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that Bob, I had a question.
What's up?
Free to play games on Xbox were charged through Xbox Live until now. But they changed it because of this. And I don't know if I necessarily want to trust. They've been playing the free to play thing being removed for months. I don't know if
I believe that because they were going to make Halo Infinite's multiplayer.
No, you see, this was my question. Where my brain was like going is the reason Halo Infinite was free to play is because they still planned on doing that.
No, I actually think it was the opposite.
Because
they were going to
someone posited that question, and because someone didn't know that they actually announced it was free to play, it's like, oh shit, they can't walk that back now. I thought that would have been funny.
I actually think it's kind of the opposite, that they were going to drop this basically when Halo was about to come out. And that would be like a really powerful press cycle for them. You can play Halo's multiplayer for free. You don't even need an online service on Xbox.
We're going to stop robbing you.
Cool.
But of course, you know, Xbox, that feels like the cool thing they would tell us they were going to do and then not do.
You know what I'm waiting for? Halo Infinite multiplayer comes out and they're like, look, all these exclusive cosmetics you can only get if you have Game Pass.
That's upsetting.
like I can already see that happening because I was seeing people have conversations of, well, not as many people I feel like care about the campaign of a Halo game than they do about the multiplayer of a Halo game. So the multiplayer not being locked behind Game Pass is rough. And then my brain went, they'll just lock multiplayer stuff through Game Pass. It's like, hey, you want better armor customization little items or like that piece of like cosmetic gear? Well, get Game Pass and you get it.
I mean that, and of course the Battle Pass for Halo. I'm sure they'll have that. But yeah, they'll probably think of every single way.
Yeah, this sucks. We got to move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about this Resident Evil 4 news, which is like the next most exciting thing this week.
Yeah. So we got another rumor like development thing from VGC, who's been right about a bunch of stuff like that Mario Collection 8 months beforehand. They were talking about Resident Evil 4 Remake. M2 that did Resident Evil 3 Remake were the main leads on this, but no longer. Capcom is taking the RE4 Remake internal with their first division. This was due to conflicting visions. Capcom wanted to do different shit in the remake, like they've been doing with all the other ones, but M2 seemingly wanted to make a more straight, normal remake of the original. And do that, they've rebooted, and they have a much lesser role, and the game is now targeting 2023.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad because from that stuff, it sounds like they wanted to do a more one-to-one remake because of the response to 3. It's like, but 3 was great.
Yeah, 3's really great. I think it's a little sad because ultimately, long-term, this means the people who complained that they changed Resident Evil 3 to not be more like 2 and then complained about 3 ended up affecting Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is real and provable, but Resident Evil 3 having less what was it, a Mr. X scenario and more Nemesis linear stuff, which is completely unfounded, never actually happened. That is nuts.
I mean, they did cut like entire areas out of that game.
Yeah, there are parts missing from Resident Evil 3, sure, but I don't think they had time in the 10 months since 2 launched to go, these journalists don't like this, cut entire regions and make AAA linear segments go.
Yeah.
I definitely like the design of that game is more combat focused and like arcadey. It feels like they've removed areas to make it more in line with that. Also because the game didn't have a super long amount of development time.
Yeah, I mean, the game's just a different thing is really all it boils down to for me. But yeah, I think it's a real shame. I think Resident Evil 3 Remake's incredible. I'm definitely interested in the vision of Resident Evil 4 that is like that. Especially if it's like you could take the engine from 3's remake, do a very faithful version of 4, and that would still be an incredible thing, right? Like you don't need to redesign it like Capcom seems to think. So I think it's a little sad that M2 isn't involved. I had a place in my heart for them, honestly. I enjoyed 3 that much.
Yeah,
I'm always going to support if you're going to remake something, I feel like you should probably be the one to make it instead of just farming it out. I'm like,
these are ex-Capcom people doing.
It's not like a totally different company.
Yeah, it's like if the people who worked on 7 Remake ended up at a different company, you know? Like these are people from Capcom from back then.
Like isn't it Tetsuya Minami?
With the hope that Mikami somehow escapes.
Yeah, with
his game in time to join them.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully.
That was sad. Where it's like, we're gonna tap him to direct, but he had to go finish Ghostwire.
He's sealed. Yes.
Xbox has him now.
Boo.
Yeah, boo.
How dare you?
I mean, but yeah, I'm fine with it. If they want to do some different stuff with it, I mean, go ahead. RE2 is apparently really different. I never played original 2.
It's really not that different.
Like I said, it's either a 10 or a 0, and it's based on whether or not I can suplex a monk.
I think that's an incredibly safe bet.
Also, you M2 not being on it, fine. If you don't steal their fucking point shop system for Resident Evil 4, you're a fucking idiot.
I think we can confirm that. Yeah.
Slam dunk in history. Also, that if you're going to bundle like an online game with all of these, that one needs to be the one with online mercenaries.
Yeah, we don't know that the other week. Like that'd be the best game ever.
I mean,
as we said last week, they're gonna add mercenaries. It'll be the best game ever.
Yeah, I mean, the fucking Resident Evil 6's mercenaries mode was amazing and enjoyable to such an extent that, and it had more lasting value than the entire rest of that game to such a hilarious extent.
Yeah, you were
we beat that whole game before we touched it and went, oh fuck, this is really great, actually.
Did you? I remember you guys stopping like, this'll take 2 streams, Bob, and then you played 5 hours of mercenaries.
It may have been. Did we do 2 or 3 streams?
I don't remember.
I think you only did 2.
It was a blur.
Try to avoid it.
I know I separated Ada to like a different day.
God,
Thank God. Ugh, her campaign sucked so bad. But yeah. Anyway,
here's my joke
I'm
in the
still-
notes. They're gonna fuck up and accidentally remake DMC 1.
That'd be pretty cool.
They will accidentally just make a new IP.
They'll just keep rebooting it until it becomes DMC 1.
they're like, I don't understand. I'm just trying to remake this lightning in a bottle, and we keep getting all these new IPs.
A good way to get yourself excited is just think if they actually do put mercenaries in there. That'll be a next gen.
Yeah, that'll be great.
It's been too long. I really hope they can get that.
2023 is enough to get away from we're also putting it on last gen too, I guess.
Hopefully.
God, I hope so. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be insane if not.
Okay, let's do some quick news before we get to Feels exciting news.
Sure.
I think people know what Feels news is. Get your last bullet down here real quick, KZ.
Okay. So, Activision has banished Vicarious Visions, who made the Crash trilogy, as well as the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remaster, to Blizzard as a part of they're the support team. I've seen some people say it's okay that because it came out that the Blizzard's Team 1 that did StarCraft 2, Warcraft 3 Reforged, Heroes of the Storm, was dismantled because Warcraft 3 Reforged was one of the worst remakes ever. And as a result, the Diablo 4 team is making the Diablo 2 remake that has been long rumored. And Vicarious Visions are working as a support on that. I saw some people saying it's like they're directly making it, so it'll be fine. It's like, no, that's not actually what's happening here at all. They're the support team to fix the fact that Blizzard isn't putting out anything that people are feeling really good about.
Yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, this suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've been this devastated by a piece of gaming news in years to this degree. I'm like, they did it. Tony Hawk's back. They just shot it in the head. I hope the people that know the Tony Hawk mechanics fucking escape.
Yeah, this is so stupid.
Yeah, it's like you got 2 slam dunks, banish them to hell.
Yeah.
Like I put in the notes, this means Activision let the developer responsible for the worst remake in modern history absorb the developer responsible for the best remake in modern history.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Didn't it fucking make it so one of our goddamn Game of the Year things aged bad immediately? Was it Part 4 in which we said, man, Activision's been doing a good job?
Yes. Yes.
No!
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, there you go. That's that news.
I'll go ahead and steal this bullet of news.
Sure.
Returnal's getting delayed till April 30th, thus reaffirming my incredibly paranoid suspicion that Sony is shipping it to hit a fiscal quarter instead of when the game is done. So I'm glad they delayed it. That's a good thing. Thank
that
you,
pushes
God.
Ratchet to 2022, I believe.
No. We're working
On
out
the last day of the
trigonometry.
financial quarter.
They were shipping it at the end of March, which is basically
Okay.
that. Yeah,
It's March that ends, it's not April.
it was the end of the fiscal year for Sony, and now they're like, okay, you need another month. What's your theory about Ratchet, Bob?
Clearly.
Oh no,
They had to move Returnal out of March because Ratchet comes out in March, guys. Obviously.
I hope. I'd like that to play that sooner rather than
man,
later.
that sure would even vaguely qualify for launch window.
Yeah. Yeah, no, anything past
Yep.
March, honestly, is a stretch.
Yeah, no, anything past March, let me be clear, is disqualified.
Yeah.
Well, launch window means the first year.
Does it? I thought that'd be launch year.
I mean, that's what they're
Yeah,
going to say.
No,
doesn't matter
launch
what's
window
true or
does not qualify for launch year. That's bullshit.
It really is.
That's horse crap. We have a word for that, launch year. Wow, we did it.
That's some real Sakurai says 3DS Smash comes out in summer. It releases in October.
I'm like, let's just dodge around Casey's news to like get the things that I don't want to talk about. Talk about this EA thing.
Oh, okay. EA forms Full Circle, a studio that's developing the new Skate game.
Cool.
That's cool. them actually making a studio is like, wow, I'm impressed.
And somehow they ended up at Blizzard.
They announced this game months ago, and the studio wasn't even made yet.
Yep. It was the moment that fucking ink hit the
I'm
page.
gonna be honest, I'm shocked they made a studio specifically for this game.
Well, here's the thing. They're not Ubisoft. They can't just Prince of Persia remake this shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, the studio that we've had for years and isn't real. Oh, they made it.
Skate 4, made by EA India? Or was it Malaysia? I can't
I think
remember.
it's India.
Okay, I thought it was India, but then I was like, that's not where all the game devs that like work on lower budget things are. That's Malaysia. Did they actually surprise me by doing India? Weird. For anyone who's curious, PlayStation Studios, like they have a PlayStation, I believe it's PlayStation Malaysia now, that they have so consistently outsourced art to this one company that they're now owned by Sony, I guess, is the deal
that's
here.
Cool. And funny.
It's cool and funny in its own way.
Yeah.
But that's neat. I'm glad they have a studio to make a game.
All right, so I have another piece of news that I just labeled bonus news.
Okay.
Because it's stupid. The Borderlands movie that is being directed by Eli Roth announced that the soldier class Roland will be played by fucking Kevin Hart.
So is he going to be on like an Apple box in every single fucking scene so he looks intimidating at all?
Yeah, I was like,
I don't know why they cast Kevin Hart as tall, gruff soldier.
So let me explain something real quick. I saw a tweet that said this, and I thought it was a joke because that's the worst casting I've ever fucking heard.
They're like, we're really, really excited to give a different type of role to Kevin Hart this time. And then I also forgot that Randy Pitchford is executive producer on this movie.
Oh, there's no God.
Yeah. This is.
I mean, Randy Pitchford being executive producer means he probably put up money for it. So if it bombs, he lost money.
That's not how they write Hollywood contracts.
Yep.
Oh man, fucking come on, Roland. That's Kevin Hart. That's.
They're just really bad.
I think it's like Kate Blanchett as Siren in that.
Oh, fucking. It's gonna release on VOD and we'll watch it for cursed content and no one else ever will.
Kate Blanchett as Siren works perfectly.
Yeah, I know. But this Kevin Hart one, fucking, why isn't he Claptrap?
That would make more sense. That'd be even worse than normal Claptrap.
What's that guy who co-starred in the Mystery Science Theater reboot? The male comedian.
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, there you go. He'll be Claptrap.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill myself.
He will.
What do you want me to talk about now?
Sure, let's do Guilty Gear.
Okay. All right. So they put out a Guilty Gear Strive game modes trailer. But first, the actual part of news that's pretty good. You can search for matches outside of the lobby system, whether in training mode or just on the main menu. So Phil, if he plays it, will not be assaulted by it.
I mean, no, that's not true at all. They could still make us deal with it if we want to play together.
Oh yeah, I meant if you're like you're labbing and testing things out at a time when we're not like playing.
Listen,
well, if like that exists, the important part is this trailer is insane. I was wheezing over the narration in this trailer. It is fucking deranged.
I actually haven't seen it.
Dan.
Yeah.
It's the Indie Creates narrator. It's
fuck
terrible.
that guy. Okay.
Yeah, I need you.
There are so few people I'll say this about in the world. Dear Inti Creates / anyone using that guy, fire him. I'll do it for you for free. His fucking trailer narration is so bad.
But it's like, welcome to the world of Guilty Gear. And he just keeps going. And every reaction is people losing it because this dude is unreal.
Yeah, they got him to do the KOF trailers too, and it's like, God, get out.
He's talking nonstop for like 6 minutes, where he's like, check out all the single player content, like tutorial.
Ugh.
I do like that they showed off. They have a fucking wiki mode in that game where you can choose a character and it shows you a grid and a relationship graph of who they're related to and their allegiances to every character in the Guilty Gear universe. And like a jukebox that has like soundtracks from older games and stuff. So that stuff seems neat. The rest I couldn't make out because that narration is a fucking parody. where I follow a fighting game guy, Sage, who's like, I had to minimize the video and check if this wasn't just someone making fun of this game.
Oh my god.
I had to check if it was the real fucking Arc System Works channel because it's crazy. Besides that, like, you know, looked fine. Still don't know what that last character is though.
Okay. It's gonna be Elon Musk. Moving on. How do we know this Sonic news? How did that happen?
He tweeted about it.
Roger Craig Smith said something. He made like Sonic puns and said that it was like on to new things, and it was a blue broken heart. And then I'm guessing he said this out of the blue because it wasn't until like 8 hours later that the Sonic Twitter account announced, we're no longer having Roger Craig Smith as the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog.
He's a good voice actor. He did a great Sonic. I wish he got to be in better Sonic games.
I wonder if they're just going to make it the movie guy.
It feels weird to announce this and not have any sort of Sonic thing like in development. So I assume there's something on the way.
I assume they must be. I assume he wouldn't find.
This told me they cast the new guy, is what I'm assuming.
Yeah, this tells me like they're at the point of the new one where they need that.
I know who the new guy is. The new guy's Aaron Weber. He won. He won everyone. He went from running the Twitter account to being Sonic.
No. No.
I think it would be funny if somehow it's Jaleel White.
I'm okay with either of these options.
It's time for Jason Griffith to strike back.
Oh man.
Jaleel White ain't doing shit. Although he is doing voice acting now. He was in DuckTales and Teen Titans Go in the past year, so it'd be pretty funny.
Is he the Urkel Sonic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he the Urkel?
Did he do that?
See, that's how you should have asked, Bob.
Clearly.
The Urkel.
Shout out to that one time last year that Sonic Forces made it onto fucking PlayStation Plus, and all the sound effects were Jason Griffith from Sonic Unleashed for no reason.
What?
Yeah, I saw people going, "Why? What? Why?
I don't."
What's going on?
Shout out to me buying that game because someone asked me on the PS5 launch stream to make sure it was compatible with the PS5.
God. Woo.
Game?
Sonic Forces.
Oh, okay, Sonic Forces.
Yeah, so that's a wonderful game that's 90 minutes long and still too long.
Yeah, every 2D level is bad. Like not 2D level, but every classic Sonic level is the worst thing I've ever played with Sonic on it.
Cool. Speaking of trailers, I know this was one ago. Don't worry about it. Speaking of trailers with narration, that should maybe be upgraded from 480i.
Oh my god! as soon as I heard it, I went, "Oh my god! Why'd they do this to Dan? Why did they do this?"
I'm like, "Oh man, this trailer's in 4K," and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna talk about Destruction All Stars," and I'm like, "Can you? Hey, what's up? I will read this piddly paragraph of text for you for free. Please stop making your games look bad. Sony, how does no one own a good... Here's how bad it is. Here's how bad it is. You could have gotten that dude to record that on AirPod Pros and it would sound better. That's a problem.
What, Dan? He was just kind of jumping on TeamSpeak. You didn't want to worry about it, okay? He got to jump on TeamSpeak. He got to do his raid.
He could have...
Yeah, this is a character from Bleach on his Turtle Beaches.
Yes.
Hey, Ichigo, how does it go?
This is Angelo.
You'll get to hear all about his backstory. Talking about the content of that trailer, that actually looked pretty cool.
We should probably say what this game is.
Destruction All-Stars.
Yeah, Destruction All-Stars. They got a state of play. I don't know what they're doing with the state of play shit where they're calling it that, but it's like some video that they dropped randomly in the morning.
And it's like 7.5 minutes, not 20 to 40.
Yeah, they showed the gameplay here, and I was like, oh no, I like how this looks.
Yeah, no, it looks really cool.
I am excited to play this and very happy I don't even have to spend a cent on it either.
Yeah, no, this this looks really cool. I'm really glad they're keeping single player content, the challenges and stuff. And they showed cutscenes, and I started losing. I'm like, we get to hear his backstory.
One of us is gonna main Angelo. It will happen.
I hope not.
When they showed Angela's power being his feet get really big, and then that just everybody did that, I was like, okay, well, at least it's not just Angelo.
Oh, see, I didn't see this one. I only saw the first one that didn't have Angelo.
I guess his feet didn't get that big. They were just glowing, and it looked like they might be bigger than normal.
I think they were just glowing, but I'm
They're
scared to go
glowing
back and check.
like they're in Hades.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, that trailer looked really cool. I'm glad they have multiple decent looking modes at launch, and I'm surprised by the out of car combat being that insane. Of just like jump on the car by doing a perfect dodge and then decide whether or not you're taking the car or making them crash and die. I'm like, oh, that's fucking dope.
Yeah, we need to group up for a launch stream of that.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100% we need to do that.
In general, this announcement alongside the PS Plus thing, I think, is particularly like strong because this launches, of course, on PS Plus for free. Alongside Control Ultimate Edition, that thing that they're like, we can't just give you the Ultimate Edition PS5 version of that for free. That'd be stupid.
You should buy it. Oh wait,
and Concrete Genie.
Ha ha ha.
Wait, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't buy it. I would be legitimately fucking furious if I had bought it again in preparation for this, because I bought the original version before we found out that it wasn't getting an upgrade, and all this time I'm like, I guess I'll buy Ultimate when it's out. It hurts me to even think of it, so I won't do it until I absolutely have to, because I want to play it. And then it's like, now I don't have to. Thank God. I would have been fucking livid.
I kept dodging bullets where I almost bought the normal one like 3 times, and then they announced Ultimate Edition, and then I almost bought that twice. Thank God we do too much content. It has prevented me from making as many impulse buys as I could have. And then someone pointed out that, well, see, everyone was overreacting for nothing. It's free on here and it's also on Game Pass. And then someone piped up and went, actually, it's the standard version of Control on Game Pass.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, I guarantee that being on PS Plus gives you more money than being on Game Pass.
I mean, they definitely have more money to throw at the game because there's only 1 or 2 games a month on PlayStation Plus that isn't owned by Sony.
Also, you probably get more money in general, because I'm sure both have this system of how much you get depends on how many people download it and how many people launch it. And then, and I'm sure that with the way PS Plus is structured, that's more than Game Pass.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
PS Plus regions are also weird too, because like the Asian territories also get Bloodstained.
Yeah, which is cool. I would like to point out Bloodstained, 505 games. Control, 505 games.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're like, you need to buy this fancy edition because we love money. What's that? We can get this on Game Pass and PlayStation? Never mind. We found someone to pay us for this edition.
At least Remedy got money to survive from fucking Epic, so I don't have to worry about them getting hurt by fucking 505 being the biggest scumbags in the industry.
If there's a cool game and 505 is involved, the only thing they did is ruin it.
Generally speaking, yes.
The only thing they did is just cause problems in some way that just makes you go, damn it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. It's they've been greenlighting a lot of really cool games, or publishing rather, because a lot of them they didn't greenlight per se. They came partway through development. It's a real shame that they just seem like the sleaziest fucking publisher. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the information that has been put out there on Twitter and other places by certain developers is just patently false. But
yeah, I'm sure that's fucking true.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's the fucking case.
The way they handled that Control thing doesn't make me trust them at all.
Exactly. There's nothing to counter this. There's nothing where you just go, well, clearly they can't be dirtbags. Clearly that guy must be lying. And it's like, no, they act really shitty.
Yeah, like their handling of other games is like smoke, and that Control thing's just fire.
Yeah. So that's
in the middle of the room.
That's a shame. But cool that more people get to play Bloodstained. I think it's great that, Control Ultimate Edition is coming to people with PlayStation Plus, because I didn't really want to buy that game because I felt it was gross after what they did. So, That's cool and shit.
Excited to be able to play the game I bought already.
Feel.
Yes.
We're going to make the important news the last news bullet of this entire podcast. People have to earn it.
So, not the most important news of this podcast. This is a rumor. It came from someone fairly accurate, or not accurate, but like has a fairly good track record of knowing shit. Another Knights of the Old Republic is coming. EA is not involved.
Whoa.
Explicitly, no one will guess who is making it. So we're going to try and guess right now. I'll start because I have one I don't think anybody else will pick. The studio that makes Yakuza, because the director has said he wanted to make a Star Wars game.
Huh. It's bold.
And if they said no one will guess, which means anybody who we know makes Western RPGs is probably out. So I'm just going as far off as I can. KZ, what's your pick?
Project Atheist secretly this game. Surprise!
That'd be really fucking funny. Bob.
Follow me here. These guys make Western RPGs, but they're Eurojank. It's going to be spiders. But spiders come with so much money, no one would believe it.
Spiders made what?
Greedfall. And God, what are the names of the other ones? They're all
Bound by Flame, which Technomancer and Bound by Flame. Greedfall is the first game they've made that I would call playable. But Greedfall is really playable apparently because it scored well and people were like, they're in the new BioWare, which I guess would make sense for them to do KOTOR. By the way, if you have PS Plus, go grab Greedfall because it's getting a next gen update.
And you have only today to go get that because it changes out the next day.
Yeah, by the time you hear this.
All right, I'm getting it now.
Dan, what's your bet?
I hope your asses are in a chair because motherfuckers, guess what? Hashtag
what?
Freaker Gang Sony Bend.
Yeah! Holy shit!
I think if like a Sony studio is making a PS5 exclusive Star Wars game, the level of cope would be like Spider-Man and Star Wars. The level of cope would be things we have never seen.
I'm losing my fucking mind. Them getting a Star Wars game right after Xbox gets Indiana Jones is the perfect counter and top.
If Indiana Jones is even exclusive.
Yeah, which is doubtful.
So you think I'm right, Bob?
I think you're right. I think that's the most logical thing. Oh no.
Why would it be Sony Bend? Has Sony Bend made Star Wars games before and I'm not aware of their history?
No, just Sony Bend hasn't announced a new project per se. They had a lot of change in management, but they seem capable of delivering a game. I thought they
know they know that guy to do creepy Sith voices. The guy who's Deacon Days Gone and was Starkiller.
Oh, that's true. Yes. That could have been the connection. That's how they could have gotten connected, you guys.
God,
I just can't think of other open world ones. Like, obviously, we're not getting it from the Horizon guys. Like, that's not happening. They have their own things to be doing.
No.
Like even
wait. Actually, they do. Doesn't Guerrilla have a shooter thing going on? Maybe it's not just a shooter.
Oh man,
yeah, they have that side project.
Yeah, they do have the side project, but I doubt that they'd be talking about it as a shooter if it ends up being a.
I know that would be really
KOTOR
stupid.
is like you're always a Jedi, so
yeah. I was actually watching
Force user.
I was actually watching Kyle Bosman's stream of KOTOR, and Bob wouldn't stop yelling from across the room. Just. Not because he's prejudiced against that game, but because they said, well, we need to go to Jabba's palace. And he's like, Jabba's how many thousands of years? Jabba's palace!
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is insane.
I absolutely hate it every time lore does that. Of 3,000 to 4,000 years past, nothing happened.
Nothing appreciably changed. They're literally listening to the same bands.
Was he really? I don't remember that in either of those.
It was in KOTOR 2. They literally said something about going to Jabba's palace, and I'm like, what?
I don't remember. It might be a mod.
Just called the Hut Palace or some shit.
Okay, I think that's a mod. There's a mod called Inner Jabba's Palace.
Okay.
For KOTOR 2. And it seems to be voiced. Because KOTOR 2 is Obsidian, and that game is like shits all over Star Wars, kind of. So I don't think they'd be doing that. Like KOTOR 1, I could conceivably see, but KOTOR 2.
Well, the only way we're going to know for sure, Phil, is if you follow up all these Dragon Age games with KOTOR and then just laugh every time it's way better.
I would 100% do that, but here's the thing. EA just left the PC version of KOTOR to die. It doesn't even have widescreen support.
Sounds right.
Oh yeah, you're right. Getting that thing to run like normally is a nightmare.
Somebody made like
Xbox.
Somebody made like a big patch to fix KOTOR 2, but they never did it for KOTOR 1. If I had an Xbox One, I might do that too, because there's a really good version for Xbox One, but I don't. And I'm certainly not buying one to fucking play KOTOR.
You're not going to buy an Xbox original and then mod it with an HDMI mod just to play KOTOR?
No.
Oh, that's
Thinking about it. Thinking about it.
Well, it's time for the biggest news of the week, maybe for multiple weeks if things go as badly as they could conceivably go.
Maybe history.
That'll be so good.
Anyway, I'm gonna read all my notes here so the audience if they don't know anything will know what is going on.
Also, it's good for historical sake.
Now, there is a thing in investing called shorting. Shorting is when you borrow a stock and sell it at market value, and there's an agreement that you will give the stock back in so much time. What that means is if the stock goes down over the time of however long you borrow it for, you make money. It is basically a way to bet against a company.
Yes.
People shorted a big part of the reason of GameStop's current financial woes is they were being shorted into oblivion. I believe that the initial belief was that they had been shorted by 140%, which meant every share of GameStop had been shorted 1.4 times. That means 40% of the stocks had been shorted twice.
Whoa.
The number is actually 250%. That means every single stock of GameStop was shorted at least twice.
Yep.
The goal by these hedge funds was to drive GameStop into bankruptcy via shorting so they would never have to buy the stocks back. Late last year, people started to notice that GameStop was one of the most shorted stocks on the New York Stock Exchange and started buying the cheap stock because it was down to like $10 a share.
Yeah. This
raised awareness of it, and it shot through the fucking roof. It shot up to about $300. That means these hedge funds. Now keep in mind, it was shorted 250%. That means you still have to that means it would have to be bought and given back 2.5 times per share.
Mm-hmm.
GameStop's number of shares is, let's see, somewhere around 100 million. So 100 million times 100 million times, let's see, 300 times 2.5, that's 750. 750 times 100 million equals 75 billion, I think. $75 billion.
Feel. Is this what it's like when people figured out how to destroy the Death Star?
It's even better.
Well, no, there's a little hole.
Even better because we didn't get in A New Hope. There wasn't shots of Alderaan, of the engineer of the Death Star, crying on network news.
Grand Moff Tarkin's just crying.
He's like, it's not true honor if you aim for that vent. Now, what this means is if the contract hits, which by the time you hear this fucking podcast, it will have already happened.
So you live in the future. How great.
To us,
who fucking knows what will happen in the next 3 days?
For us, tomorrow, the 29th, is when all those fucking contracts come home, or at least a huge amount of them. If the hedge fund cannot cover it, and they can't, no hedge fund in history has the money for this.
This is an incredible moment.
They are forced to liquidate in order to cover it, and they still will not be able to.
Yep.
Which means the investment
fair, they need a bailout.
Which means the investment banks covering them will be forced to cover it, and it is so much money they might still not be able to. And there's an element of this that isn't being discussed enough. There's interest on borrowing these stocks, and people have to be willing to sell these stocks for them to even be bought and given back. Which means if past this date, there's no interest for the date. Past the date, there starts to be heavy interest.
Right. Yeah.
Which means if people fucking continue to not sell, the interest will compound and compound and compound and could conceivably get up to $150 billion.
Power to the players.
So just to cover that, because that was a lot of mechanical details about finances, a thing most people aren't trained on systemically, intentionally. Let me break this down. Hedge funds are people who, when they do this, they are betting that a business will fail, and then they want to profit off of that. They kept doing this to GameStop to drive it lower and lower and keep profiting over their demise.
Yeah, it wasn't. And betting is the wrong word. They were engineering GameStop's oblivion to profit off it.
Right. And when these people, through Reddit and other things, thought it would be hilarious to do the simple act, the normal act of buying a stock, they got completely fucking obliterated to the point where we're seeing people cry on CNBC and other stuff. I got this quote from Senator Warren in front of me where she's just like, we need an SEC that has clear rules about market manipulation, that has the backbone to go in and enforce those rules. What are you going to do? This is thousands of people. This isn't one group. It's a message board, you dumb bitch.
That clip on network television of the dude going, this bullshit. Those companies are bad. They deserve to die.
Yeah, and then that, what was it, Chamath or whatever, who's having the conversation with him, where he's like, GameStop is a legitimate business. What makes them less legitimate than someone else? They're a retailer. They sell a product. They're a normal business. So why do you think it's okay for them to not have a stock price with any level of, appropriate value? Why do you think that's the case? And the person really had no return to that. He's just been trained, like everyone is, to not really process what exactly the stock exchange represents and how absolutely abominable the whole fucking thing is.
And how mask off people are about hating poor people.
Yes. Like, you don't understand. These financial institutions were never meant for you. They were never meant for anyone. Any of us. Not one. Not one person who listens to the show was meant to be included in the club. All of these systems are meant to destroy you and deprive you of money. So this incredible institution, these hedge funds getting so heavily fucked by the simple act of, we're going to buy stock too, is so unbelievably funny. It's so good.
Yeah, no, seeing these people who are like, I trained all my life for this, it's like, yeah, you did nothing.
Congratulations.
Those cry posts are insane. It's like, you did everything right. You went to college.
I am going to read the post. I'm going to read the post directly, and then I'm going to give Dan my response, and he can tell the audience my response.
Okay.
You did the right thing. Memorized The Intelligent Investor at age 15. Undergrad at Harvard. First job at Goldman Sachs. Got your CFA, MBA from Wharton. Opened your own fund after finely tuning your craft. And then you were liquidated by a coalition of chicken tender eating high school dropouts. And here is my response.
What is that?
If the rule you followed brought you to this, of what use was the rule? I was really hoping it was just blow it out your ass. But yeah, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. You trained your whole life to be a leech on society and exploit a weird contusion, aberration of capitalism in order to make your entire living. Congratulations, you leech fuck. You deserve to lose it all.
Yeah, you never owned anything that could be considered money.
You never created an art. You never created commentary on art. You trained your entire life to manipulate a space that has no real value. And now you're getting fucked by people who have much better personalities and lives than you.
And again, we're doing this as a historical record. Unprecedented death and job losses. The stock market goes up to record levels.
Yes.
The stock market's fake. It isn't fucking real.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with actual businesses. It's
GameStop might be on hard times. They aren't. We're about to go out of business on hard times. And that would have happened through this fake, non-real shit.
Yeah, no, as a podcast listeners know, I worked there for years. Every time I talked to upper management about like how things were going with each store was still making a profit, except for like the lowest tier, and even then they were staying afloat. They weren't losing money,
right?
So it didn't make sense that this was happening at all.
Yeah.
Right now, GameStop's what it is sitting at right now is $311.9 per share.
Fucking GameStop.
Now, the fucking powers that be are terrified of this, because this could happen. This could be replicated on every single hedge fund, because all of them do shorting.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, shorting was illegal in the United States until the late 90s, at which point they repealed the law that made it illegal.
Oh.
Yep. We live
Every
in the most,
single thing.
every single terrible aberration to ruin our lives manifested during our childhood. We were doomed before we knew it.
Yep.
They are trying everything. They had these apps that normal people can use, freeze buying GameStop. They had some of them, people who had a whole lot of shares, woke up to found their shares forcibly liquidated.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're just straight up just stealing them away.
Now those people make, you know, a 4,000% profit, so I don't feel too bad for them. But this, every single rule you thought existed. This instant is the biggest example, I think, in my entire life of the powers that be just going, the rules only exist to be used on you. When they start to hurt us, we can change them at a whim.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many quotes going around right now where they're like, we need to prevent this. What's this? What do you think this is?
They need to prevent the free market.
Yeah.
That's it.
We need to prevent poor people from making money. We need to prevent the market from actually being free in any sense. Like, we get to say it's a free market and defend ourselves from doing absolutely reprehensible shit, but the moment normal people own us through completely, like, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. Just so we're clear, there is literally nothing wrong with buying GameStop stock. At no point are you harming anyone by doing that. But because these malicious assholes had their black fucking financial magic blow up in their goddamn faces, they're mad.
And here is the best part. Here is the best part. If all of them were united, they'd be able to shut this down. But enough of them, just enough, want to profit on the destruction of the others. When the market closed today, it was only at $180. But foreign investors, like, they want the blood. They can profit off the blood. And that interference, their own inherent greed, even though theoretically they should be unified, because this could happen to them too. It could be them next, but they can't. They're so fucking greedy and malicious. They can't. So they're going to interfere with each other just enough, hopefully, for this to go through and fucking eradicate them.
Because they assume at some level, well, obviously some regulation's going to do something to... This couldn't happen to us. And here's the thing. The funny thing is, you want to point out the hedge funds and be like, look, they're so... This is how most people are, sadly. Most people are like, well, obviously this couldn't happen to me. It's insane. The whole thing's insane.
The way they demonize, like, the people, where it's almost comical, where they're like, like, to me, in their head, they feel like the random person buying stocks is like that scene in The Dark Knight Rises where Bane tries to crash the fucking stock exchange.
Yes.
No. See, they
like,
could feel
that's what normal people are doing.
They could feel any amount of, like, okayness with that. In their head, their Bane is a 300-pound balding guy in Evangelion footy pajamas.
Yeah, that's why they're all yelling about chicken tender eaters and all this other stuff. Is like, you're just trying to, like, discriminate against poor people. That's literally it.
Congratulations. You're very mask off.
Meanwhile, you have posts in that subreddit for the Wall Street bets going, yeah, I just took a chance on this and I got $40 off it. I can finally buy name brands for the first time in months.
I saw somebody like, oh, I made a bunch of money off this. I can pay my mom's medical bills for her so she won't be retired and in medical debt.
So, yeah.
And if any, I'm going to say this. This is going to be the fucking meanest thing I say, or the most harsh thing I say. Anybody trying to tell you, not a normal person because they can be tricked. I'm talking about people in the media, people with that fucking devil's clown nose by their name on Twitter. Anybody who tells you this is bad, anything, they either will tell you this is bad because some of the Redditors are racist, or they'll tell you it's just business as normal because, rich people are also profiting on this. Those people are your enemy.
Yeah.
They are lying directly to your face for you to support a system that wants you dead.
Yeah. No.
And again, in less than 24 hours, Silicon Valley, the United States government, Wall Street, and the media united to try to stop this. Would they be doing that if it didn't scare them shitless?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they're not uniting because it's bad. They're blatantly weaving a narrative that suits them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't get the rest of our checks for stimulus at all.
Bob can't get stimulated over here.
We're not getting them now. Fucking give Redditors $1,400. That's way too dangerous.
I'm really scared that that's actually going to be true.
Yeah, it's just it's been weeks, but they can do all of this behind trying to stop the market from being used
in less than a day. Anybody telling you that the government can only act slowly is blowing smoke up your ass bad, because it can move at the speed of light to protect these billionaires.
Yeah, no, rich people are involved. They can do anything.
You, however, you're literally fungible. You're replaceable. You're worthless to them.
Yeah, then why do you think they just let, 500,000 die?
Like, the only reason you enter a politician's brain is they need to figure out how to get you to vote for them. And it isn't to win you over, it's to trick you. It's really sad. It's really, really sad how much in America we literally treat people as a resource that exhausts itself. Like, we don't let cashiers sit because they should literally harm themselves medically by having to stand every hour of every day at a fucking store running a register where the register doesn't fucking move. We can't have them be comfortable. You should never be comfortable. You should always be scared that you're going to be fired, that you're going to be replaced. You don't have medical. You don't have anything else. You're completely disposable to rich people. So the moment you start owning rich people, the world can move to fuck you. But the funny thing is, it's not one person doing this. It's thousands. Thousands of people are doing this. So what the fuck are they going to do? Arrest people for buying stock? Maybe. We'll see.
They can't. It's too many. Like, they're going to try some kind of horrible fucking position. They're going to try some kind of horrible legislation.
Yeah, I don't know what they can do without just without being incredibly obvious exactly what you're doing and how it isn't beneficial to anyone except this super rich.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's never stopped them.
But here's the thing. My parents are of a generation where they'll buy it wholesale.
Yeah, yeah.
It's truly sad that they just have no idea how much they're being conned. They're just like, the people on the news are talking about how bad hackers from the internet are ruining financial institutions. Like, Mom, I don't think you've ever had 5 digits in your bank account. Financial institutions have never mattered to you. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, the sanctity of them? It's real sad, this whole situation. It's really sad that it is this way, but this is a delightful moment.
Oh yeah, this is really fun.
I'm reminded of a quote.
Maybe GameStop's gonna be okay.
I'm reminded of a quote. What is it? I remember now. History has always punished those who misinterpret the strength of their position. It's one of life's small joys.
So, hey, Bob.
Hey, Dan.
What do you have going on in the next week?
We started that Dream series.
That's true. I forgot to talk about that on what we played earlier. We Share Your Dreams is delightful. If you're still listening at this point, please go give episode 1 a look. It has episode 2 is really strong too. I'm really excited for that.
Episode 2 is immaculate.
It's incredible. I can't wait for it to come out. It's going to come out in the week following this episode of Big Thing coming out. Really, really quite something. Special stuff. And we're also starting up sometime soon a series where we just play some retro games on Trinitron CRT in the high quality, and it's actually pretty cool. We've recorded a couple of things like that, so please look forward to that. And I hear we're going to be playing your Mega Man Maker levels this Friday.
Oh my.
Oh, shit.
So be sure to get some Mega Man Maker levels ready. You can play as Roll nowadays, guys.
Whoa.
Like get some Roll levels in there.
Oh, shit. Roll's going to fight a Shade Man with 28 health.
And she's going to hit him with a broomstick 28 times.
And by Roll, we mean Bob.
And by hit him with it 28 times, we mean if they get to it in your level, they're going to skip to the next level.
Siri, disable that timer.
Siri, shut it down.
Shut the fuck down.
Put that if I was Dan and Bob, I would put that on the overlay. 28 hit Shade Man equals skip.
There'll be
ban.
new bosses. I assume people will be past that and have a 28 hit of something else.
Like, the Mega Man 11 bosses. Please, anyone?
Oh.
28 hit permanent power gear. Fucking the snow boss, Frost Man. Or was it Blizzard Man? Who is it? 11?
Blizzard Man 6. 11 is Chill? No.
Tundra?
Tundra.
Yeah, I think it's Tundra.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Tundra Man.
There are a lot of...
Yuri on
There are a lot.
Iceman.
But what do you have going on the next week, KZ?
I've just been focusing on the stream, and I wasn't able to get as many in as I wanted because my internet just had packet loss on the upload for seemingly no reason, jumping from 30 up to 0.1.
That's a shame.
I don't know why. This over the weekend, I'm probably going to try and finally get Final Fantasy 3 done. I don't know what I'm going to do next because I hear people. I've seen at least 2 people who would know murmuring that, because I was thinking about doing RE7, that they might be patching that for PS5.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I'll wait. I'll absolutely wait because I haven't played that and I need to actually go through that in time for 8. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'll jump into Final Fantasy 4 yet, but I'm gonna play a variety of stuff as I prepare for an incoming death in a month.
Okay. Are you going to give details on that, or?
Oh yeah. I'm preparing that thing where I play every Kingdom Hearts game and I don't stop.
Oh, I
that's cool.
thought you don't do that till May, but okay.
Oh no. I'm spacing it out now. One, it's gonna take a month to do it because I need to balance this.
Yep.
And my own content with it. And also it's like, yeah, it makes sense to do it around March, because that's what happened last time. I've got some new graphics and stuff. Most of it's almost done, so I'm excited about that. And some different stuff that I'm going to be doing with it. I'm sure it'll be great. Have some great conversations. Great things will come up in there. The whole gang will be there at points. It's going to be great.
God knows what the Kingdom Hearts Marathon of 2021 will start, begin, or end.
So many things, man. Editing those supercuts of the Kingdom Hearts Marathon over the past couple weeks was bad.
Yeah.
It was real bad because it's just general discussions of, man, March of last year, a lot of things happened there, and we definitely talked about it half the time.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. And then Dan came in, and he sounded really sick.
Yep.
Yep.
Like really sick at some point. But then there are other parts about fucking Xbox Series X buttons that were really funny. So I guess it all worked out.
I guess it all works out.
No, a fucking seagull took a hot dog out of PM's hand.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's it for me. I'm just gonna keep on streaming.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Feel, what do you have going on in the next week?
Well, if this GameStop thing crashes society, I guess I'll be killing people for fresh water. If that doesn't happen,
Okay.
I'll be streaming more Dragon Age 2.
Okay.
I'll be killing people for cheer one.
I actually forgot to tell you guys what I've been doing in the next week. In the next week, I'm going to become the broker.
I hate you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Big Think Dimension. If you would like to support the GB Podcast Network, head on over to patreon.com/GB Podcast so that way you can get exclusive behind the scenes on stuff, other content. There's a lot of content. It's basically non-ending avalanche of content. So head on over there, become a $5 backer or a Podlord today.